The main character concludes that it is too early to die at 23, and also states that death does not cause her any emotions except relief. The girl spent 5 years in the hospital after she fell ill due to a rare disease. Her senses began to fail one by one, starting with her vision. For the lady, the loss of sight was the strongest blow because now she will not be able to find out the ending of her favorite novel. She did not understand why she had to endure all this suffering if she was destined to die. And suddenly, after death, the main character opened her eyes again, being the heroine from the novel that she read before losing her sight. Opening her eyes, she concluded that her blanket smelled very delicious. She wondered why it smelled like this, because the nurse didn't seem to have gone to her room with an air freshener, when suddenly she jumped up, realizing that she was smelling it again for the first time. She turned her head, not believing that she felt something, because before it was impossible. She realized that it was indeed the scent of roses. Trying to understand what was happening, the girl looked up. Surprisingly, the girl was in a room unknown to her. In an instant, there was a knock on the room, calling the lady Ariel. The voice asked if she was awake. The maid brought her a tray of some kind, wishing her good morning. The girl was shocked because she was met by a maid, to which she only smiled innocently and asked what bath fragrance Milady prefers today. The pink-faced woman could not understand why someone wore such clothes in the hospital, and then she wondered what Lady Ariel meant. The heroine glanced at the tray, seeing something strange, similar to jelly with a rose inside. She stared at the object, realizing that she was seeing something for the first time. The lady was shocked when she touched the new object, concluding that it was as if it were in a flower garden. She couldn't remember when the smell was as amazing as it was at this time. The maid looked at her strangely. The maid asked what problems the lady had, because she looked as strange as possible. She stated that she was just enjoying the aroma, to which the servant was amazed at this politeness, asking what she had done wrong. She fell at Ariel's feet and began to apologize, thinking that such politeness was sarcasm and a hint that she was mistaken. Ariel tried to calm the girl down, saying that she was not angry. Suddenly, the girl's eyes fell on the tray. Looking into the reflection, she did not recognize her face. The maid looked at Milady awkwardly, afraid to utter a word. Ariel couldn't believe that she looked completely different, couldn't understand why she was a different person. She was too shocked, saying that she needed a mirror. Looking at her, she saw pink, curly hair, eyes shining like the morning sky, snow-white pale skin. She immediately concluded that she had seen this face before. She realized that she had seen this face earlier on the cover of her favorite novel and could not confuse it in any way. The shocked lady asked what the maid called her, to which she replied that her name was Ariel. Her gaze fell, the girl was horrified, asking the name of the heroine. Nervous chuckles came from her lips. Ariel burst into nervous and a little crazy laughter, frightening the maid who was standing next to her. She remembered that this was the name of the antagonist of that very novel. Ariel concluded that she was doomed because this character dropped out at the beginning of the game, or rather was publicly hanged. All that was known about her was that Ariel was presented as a brilliant perfumer. The reason for this was the smell of the demon flower, onyxia, which was needed by the protagonist Cedric Evans. In the story, Cedric asked Ariel to create a perfume with such a fragrance. And being a genius, the girl did an excellent job and created a unique smell. Of course, nothing was given for free, and Ariel asked Cedric to date her in exchange for perfume. And he had no choice, but the girl wanted a serious relationship. But unfortunately, he pushed her away. After leaving her, the guy began to date another woman. Ariel's obsession grew stronger. She tried to kill the female protagonist with the help of perfume and the poison that was in him. However, she was caught and publicly hanged for attempted murder. Looking at herself in the mirror, she realized that a sad outcome awaited her. The maids began to dress up Ariel while she remembered the novel and was insanely nervous. The girl realized that she had been given a second chance at life, and she could not die so stupidly. She began to think about what she needed to do. The first thing she needed to do was to avoid death. On this very day, I didn't have a meeting with the same Cedric. Calling her, she smiled and responded to her name. The lady instantly declared that it was time to put an end to their relationship with him. She realized that she had to leave him first in order to avoid death in the future. Ariel got up from the table and said that she no longer had feelings for him, and it was time to end it. The guy tried to stop her, telling her not to hurry to leave and he had something to say and show her. She smiled and explained that she would send perfume through a messenger and they had no need to see each other and communicate. She smiled and joked that he would not become a mad dog if she left without any regrets. The guy looked at the girl and asked the last phrase again. The fact is that the girl gave this nickname when she read the novel, for which she immediately apologized. After saying everything she wanted, the girl left the restaurant. After seeing Cedric, Ariel understood why the character was so obsessed with him, because he has a very beautiful face, but dying for him is stupid. She concluded that if they separated, they would no longer intersect. And this meant that there were no more reasons for death and Ariel would be able to live a new life, which was given to her for the second time. Ariel walked out of the restaurant screaming that she was finally free. Arriving at the palace, the lady saw a tall guy in a dark suit and an elegant, fluffy tie. Everyone began to bow without looking up at the man. As it turned out, this man with a disgruntled face was Ariel's father. The father asked if his daughter had seen Mr. Cedric again. Suddenly, the man began to shout, saying that she was a disgrace to the honor of the family and everyone was already pointing a finger at her. And after these statements, he said that no matter how hard she tried, Lord Evans would never look at her. In an instant, Ariel hastened to announce that she and Cedric had broken up. The girl said that there was no reason to worry because they put an end to the relationship. Everyone, including the servants, was shocked by Ariel's loud statements. But instead of support, the father laughed in the girl's face, saying that finally Cedric broke off their relationship. She tried to explain that the separation was consensual, to which her father again stated that he would never believe it because she was suspiciously calm. Ariel's patience finally ran out, and she replied that she herself offered to break up. The man was amazed, asking to stop this trick because this is just another trick to attract attention. But when Ariel replied that she had lost her feelings for Cedric, her father was furious. The man offered to measure her temperature because it seemed that she was sick. Ariel asked to stop, saying that she was not sick, but very tired and wanted to go to her place. Ariel's father literally almost fainted from such a statement, because with such a handsome man she simply had no right to conduct a dialogue in such a tone. The lady was very tired, but still she needed to go to the perfume shop. The lady asked the maid to take her, and on the spot ordered her to leave. The maid was amazed to hear that the mistress wanted her to go to rest. To this the maid bowed and thanked milady. Entering the room, she saw a huge table and a shelf on which there were many jars with new aromas. The girl began to look at all these jars and touch everything that was there. Taking one of the jars, the lady sniffed, smelling a strong smell. It was a very sweet and strong aroma of blooming roses. Even though the smell was delicious, it was too variegated, which made Ariel cough. Tears came to the girl's eyes when she realized that she had lived for a very long time without the ability to smell. In her previous life, the girl dreamed of becoming a perfumer, studied a lot to achieve her goal. Before she fell ill, the girl studied at the Faculty of Chemistry. Suddenly, the lady shook her head and realized that she did not want to remember the past. Ariel began to look for something, some object that should be somewhere in the room. His eyes fell on the chocolate box, which was slightly ajar. Opening it to the end, the girl smiled, realizing that she had found what she was looking for. Ariel found a book where, in the novel, she always wrote down her recipes there. When she opened this book, she saw a very strange recipe. The lady saw the recipe for the fragrance that was supposed to kill the main character. Ariel was horrified as she turned the next page. Suddenly, her eyes fell on the love perfume that Ariel had once developed to make Cedric fall in love with her. Ariel began to leaf through the book, because it was not what she was looking for in it. Suddenly, she finally saw what she needed, perfume in a purple bottle. It was a perfume with a fragrance, a demonic flower, Onyxia. This legendary flower, which, after closing the gates to the demonic world, can occasionally be found on the eastern continent. Even members of the royal family tried to get this flower because of its uniqueness. But the problem is that this aroma is the only medicine that can calm Cedric down. When he tried to shield himself from this smell, tragedy struck. The girl concluded that it was terrible and it was necessary to prevent this. Suddenly, Ariel was distracted by saying that a guest had arrived from the Evans estate. Ariel was quite surprised. A tall guy with brown hair and a sweet smile appeared on the threshold. The girl looked at him, thinking that it was his advisor. The guy apologized for such a late visit. Milady smiled and said that everything was fine, and if they had arrived, there was a reason for it, and she would also like to know that reason. The guy handed the lady a box, explaining that she dropped it in a restaurant. In the box was a bouquet of blue roses, which the girl used today. The counselor smiled as he said that His Majesty had asked to return it to the girl. Ariel was surprised because usually Cedric didn't care if someone forgot such a thing. The lady smiled, lowered her gaze, and then thanked the counselor. The smiling guy asked if Ariel had heard the new news. As it turned out, the festival begins in the Maitland district next weekend. He said that the streets would be clogged, so they should send a carriage to escort the girl. The girl wondered why His Highness's people should accompany her. Ariel realized that Cedric's advisor was not aware of their separation. The lady said that she no longer had to see him on weekends. Ariel was annoyed that she had to repeat this so many times. The guy asked if Ariel had changed her mind about her decision. She said that she was not planning a wedding. Ariel asked to send the fragrance of Onyxia to the Duke's estate. The counselor asked her to send him personally, to which she stated that she had servants and had no need to worry. The counselor bowed and left the palace. The lady handed the box to the maid, asking her to throw it away. Meanwhile, at His Majesty's estate, the counselor announced that he had returned and was ready to get to work. He looked up when he was informed that Ariel did not regret the breakup in the least. The man said that the lady was not exactly calm, rather she looked very pleased and had no regrets about what she had done. Cedric chuckled, realizing that this relationship was on a whim, and she would end it on her too. The master realized that Ariel was too strange. She did not complain that he was late, and did not stare in anticipation of something. He understood that this girl had been holding him by force for a year. The guy thought there had to be a good reason to end the relationship. The counselor suggested that perhaps Cedric had offended Lady Ariel in some way. The only thing Cedric could do was to be 10 minutes late today. The guy wondered if this parting was good news for the gentleman. At this, the gentleman only got angry, asking the last phrase again. He continued, because the man had never had feelings for her, and he dated her only because of the promised perfume. He could not understand what was wrong with Ariel, because earlier perfume was her main weapon to fall in love with the guy she was so obsessed with. The counselor again assumed that the girl had simply fallen out of love with him, and there was no reason. To this, Cedric said that she could not fall out of love with him because this crazy obsession was like a year and could not remove all feelings with her hand. He did not know the reason for this separation, but the situation was developing in his direction. Cedric did not understand why he was so unhappy that Ariel had left him, since Cedric had never loved Ariel. The man looked away and said that there was an unpleasant smell in the room. He sent a counselor to instruct the servants to see if someone brought him cold water. Ariel spent several days in the perfume shop, studying the notebook and reading the recipes she wrote before she appeared in a new body. The memories that the lady buried deep in herself due to illness gradually appeared during the reading. The girl sorted through all the aromas, mixing them with each other. Finally, she created the perfume she wanted to create so badly. Ariel stared at the notebook, checking all the ingredients she had written down. Eyes fell on a couple of unusual recipes, for example, perfumes that heal internal wounds, attract people. Knowing this, Ariel realized that she could become a real sorceress, thanks to the wonderful gift of perfume. The lady created a perfume whose purpose was to blow away fatigue in one movement. The lady sprayed perfume on herself, trying to understand if the perfume was working. Ariel didn't feel anything, as one of the maids asked to try it on her. The lady smiled and agreed because the servant also helped her and could taste the fragrance that they had created together. Having sprayed perfume on the maid, she inhaled it and closed her eyes, waiting for a miracle. Suddenly, the girl began to run in circles, saying that she felt a sharp surge of energy. Ariel was very surprised that the effect was instantaneous. The maid began to work, stirring the petals and trying to put this energy somewhere. Fair-haired shouted that she needed more work. As it turned out, the ingredients to create the perfume ran out. They made the decision that they needed to go to the Sinon area to buy everything they needed. Going there, the lady was delighted because the area was very beautiful and lively. The girls collected a lot of flowers, very different, having a variety of aromas. But suddenly, Ariel stumbled and fell, knocking over all the flowers that were in her hands right on the floor. On the contrary, some ladies appeared, declaring that these flowers would not be enough, looking at Ariel with their pretentious eyes. The lady said that these flowers were too wretched to attract Mr. Cedric's attention. The ladies began to laugh, saying that they had heard that Ariel had left the date because Cedric was a busy man. Ariel smiled, realizing that the ladies were trying to hurt her. The girl thanked the ladies for worrying about her feelings. When she had gathered all the flowers, she replied that it was no longer necessary, for she and his lordship had parted. The upstart with a fan was shocked by such a loud statement. Everyone began to feel sarcastic about the girl, saying that it was cruel of him to leave Ariel. They began to say that it is unlikely that anyone will now take the one that they left after a long relationship. Ariel smiled and said that this statement offended his lordship. She told them that there was nothing strange in people breaking up, and that someone would definitely need Cedric after parting. They were amazed that the girl was the initiator of the breakup. In conclusion, to prove this point, the girl asked the upstart to introduce the young lord to her. She said that instead of the cold duke, she prefers a nice and kind guy. The lady thought that Ariel was laughing at her because she could not believe that this was really so. She said that she remembered these words and then left with her company of girls. Ariel chuckled, realizing that she had nothing else to worry about. Meanwhile, His Grace has received a package from Ariel. The Duke realized that the girl had kept her promise and sent the right perfume. The counselor asked to check the perfume, because the girl had previously sent him all sorts of love potions. He, in turn, refused the advisor and threw everything on himself, realizing how talented Ariel was. The man began to wonder what recipe the girl was using, because all past perfumes had failed. As it turned out, there was a double bottom in the box and there was another perfume, the very one that allows you to get rid of fatigue. In the same place, there was a note where there were inscriptions about how these spirits should also help. The man took the bottle, thinking that this was another trick in order to seduce or fall in love with himself with the help of perfume. The Duke decided to check if Ariel had mixed anything into the perfume. He can't try everything on himself, so he sprayed the bottle on the expert advisor. The guy associated everything with the fact that he was lying on a warm, sunny field, and a soothing breeze was blowing over his body. He began to run again and say that he would go to work because adrenaline and energy poured through him from the edges. The man was amused by this reaction, but he decided to take a look at the note. Ariel still had a little of this perfume left, which made her begin to wonder if she would have enough. Holding the notebook in her hands, the girl realized in an instant that these pages were worth thousands of gold coins. The maids asked Lady Ariel to come down to the table because her father was waiting for her there with an important statement. After that, he said that the gentleman was expecting a girl. The lady went to the table where the father of the family was waiting for her with a menacing or rather serious look. Glancing at her menacingly, the man ordered her to sit down at the table. Wiping his face with a napkin, he said that he wanted to tell her something. Her father said that Ariel had to get married urgently. This really struck the girl because she had only recently broken up with Cedric. He explained that rumors of a breakup with the Duke had spread. The girl received an offer from the son of people who import currency. The father explained that she needed to marry him and bring her son to the family. This year, Ariel turns 23 and she is already of marriageable age. The fact is that aristocrats are often married off for political reasons. Suddenly, the lady got goosebumps because she was given a second chance at life and she does not want to marry a stranger. While the daughter was worried about her fate, the man reasoned that the guy was very handsome. In other words, the lady will marry a handsome, tall, and slender guy, but this is not what Ariel wanted. The girl tried to explain to her father that she wanted to enjoy freedom a little. To this, the Duke asked what the girl wanted because she could fulfill any of her whims in order to save the reputation of the family. The man said that he would fulfill any of her whims if she responded to the proposal and marriage positively. Ariel smiled and asked for a lot of money this month. At this, the father grimaced and looked at her. The man said that he heard that the girl took up an old hobby. For a man, the hobby of perfumery was considered too strange and stupid for him to think that it would bring any benefit. He said that he would give the lady 20,000 encores for one meeting with her boyfriend. Smiling, the girl agreed, stingy with money. Her new fiancé was a minor character in the novel. This was the guy who kidnapped the main character in the novel by pouring drugs on her. Only after seeing his smile and bags under his eyes, the lady wanted to run away, realizing that this boyfriend was just a psycho and clearly under something. She asked what kind of disgusting smell was coming from the guy. He asked what was wrong, to which she replied that the smell was very strange. The groom said that he also felt something similar, and he had to tell the manager. Ariel began to rummage through her purse, looking for her new perfume. The man admired, saying that he knew that the lady collects perfume, and it is not only useful but also very interesting. He tried to compliment her, to which the girl began to spray perfume right in his face. After that, Ariel apologized because the smell was unbearable. The guy was silent and stared at one point after this aroma. The lady began to wave in front of his face, trying to bring him to his senses. Suddenly he smiled sharply, and looking her straight in the eyes, the guy enthusiastically asked why she squirted at him. The blonde said that he knows the feeling he felt after spraying this fragrance. The guy with a crazy smile said that it was an aphrodisiac. The girl suddenly remembered that people who use drugs are very sensitive to smells and perceive them differently. It seems that the new boyfriend is not as good as his father said, but rather the opposite. The guy said that he had never seen such brave ladies before, because anyone would run away from such audacity. After that, the man, like a madman, said that he accepted hints, unlike other children. The girl was frightened and, withdrawing her hand, shouted that he should let her go and not touch her anymore. It seems that the guy was not just a madman, but a real madman, from which he began to repeat that all the antics of the lady were to his taste. Turning away from him, Ariel realized that such a smell could remain from drugs. The man not only looked, but also behaved like a drug addict and a madman. Suddenly, the blonde smiled again and pulled her hand, saying that if they were on the same wavelength, then there was nothing to wait for. Frightened, she did not want to go with this abnormal, she screamed, calling the waiter, hoping for help. The waiter himself was surprised, and Ariel asked to call the guards because the young man allows himself too much. The girl was insanely amazed when the guy began to touch her with his hand to his chest. This inadequate said that his heart was beating for Milady. The lady decided that she would need to correct the recipe when she returned home. The blonde man turned to the waiter, saying that the lady was just shy and should not worry about her safety. Suddenly, Cedric himself appeared on the doorstep. He looked at the couple with a menacing and embittered look, seeing the violence towards the girl. His gaze was full of jealousy and malice, because no one has the right to touch his ex-girlfriend without her consent. He took the impudent man by the hand and asked what was going on here, illuminating the guy with his gaze. The man shouted in fright that his lordship had misunderstood. He began to make excuses, saying that he and Ariel had a date. Ariel watched all this, trying not to get too involved in the scuffle. The guy said that the blonde had gone crazy. He stretched out his hand to her and, taking her palm, led her along. Cedric asked what he could do to calm Milady, but grabbing his dagger, the guy asked if he could wound the madman in the same place. The man fell to his knees, begging to be spared. The guy began to say that Ariel was trying to arouse attention and embarrassment with this refusal, to which these words were refuted. The man kicked the son of a rich man in the chest so that he fell, and then said that the Marquis did not even teach him good manners. And then he asked the guards who had already come to take the guy away. The man turned to Ariel and asked what she was doing here, to which she replied that she had the same question for him. Cedric wondered why the girl was in the company of such a man, to which Ariel replied that her father insisted on meeting with the Marquise's son. Ariel concluded that if she had known, she would never have come to see him in advance of how this meeting would turn out. The lady smiled awkwardly and thanked the guy. The man was amazed that they had just broken up, and the lady was already considering the role of a groom. Although their relationship was built on a contractual basis, it lasted more than 6 months. Cedric said that in such situations there should be certain norms. He clarified that she should have discussed the issue with him and then dealt with marital affairs. Ariel hastened to declare that their relationship was still a burden to him. At this, he only looked at her sullenly, making it clear that his feelings for her had not cooled down and some spark was still between them. Even though they were a couple in public and quite popular due to their reputation, if they were seen with another man immediately after breaking up with Cedric, rumors would spread at the speed of light. The girl understood that he was not pleased either, and she had to adhere to the appropriate rules, attracted to me at all costs. The lady bowed and apologized. Suddenly, the guy asked how long ago the girl decided to date him and then find another guy, because even earlier, she was obsessed with the guy. In fact, Ariel hadn't thought about it. She did not understand whether she had a choice at all. After all, the girl understood that she could not become the Duchess of Evans. In an instant, surprisingly not wanting to let the girl go, he asked if the lady had changed her mind about parting with the ends. To this, she smiled and said that of course she was not going to change her decision. The man concluded that if this is the desire of his lady, then he should not mind, and then apologized for such questions. And also, Cedric said that her perfume helped a lot, thanks to which his assistant became more efficient. He had already left, for which the girl regretted that she did not have time to ask about Onyxia's perfume, or rather about its effectiveness. Although, most likely, everything is fine with them, because they say that the lack of news is good news. In the castle, Ariel's father was madly furious, because a letter arrived from the Marquise's estate. The lady was insanely scared and ashamed in front of her father for what could have been in this letter. The man tore up this letter when he learned that his daughter had sent the gentleman to prison. Ariel said that the man got what he deserved, and the guards took him to work. My father asked what kind of duel was in the restaurant between the two guys. Ariel stated that Cedric had not done anything so crazy as to make him angry. She only announced that he had hurt her honor. She reported that he said that she sprayed him with perfume to seduce. The man was furious when he realized that the girl was clearly doing something. Ariel tried to explain that she had just sprayed perfume at him because he smelled terrible. The angry man said that she should give up this terrible hobby. He was literally standing on his ears because rumors about this meeting were circulating throughout the kingdom. The man said that because of this, hardly anyone would want to marry Ariel. The man shouted that Ariel should immediately go to the security headquarters, apologize, and asked to release Rob. The lady said that even if she wanted to, she could not go there and do what her father asked her to do. The reason for this was that Cedric himself had ordered him to be taken into custody, and she would interfere rudely. Father realized that if the Duke was involved in this, there was nothing he could do about it. The father said that he had to find a suitable match for his daughter, as rumors would spread, so that no one would dare to refute the honor of their family and disgrace their reputation. The girl did not understand how this even came to the man's mind because it was absurd. Fortunately for his father, he hid another letter from Olgan. The girl wanted to first find out how old the new gentleman was, because to this day, it is too important. As it turned out, he was already 40 years old, which shocked the lady. The man decided to marry his daughter for convenience. The girl sighed and asked if she needed to marry a rich man as soon as possible. He answered positively because he specifically invested in her upbringing for the sake of this. At that moment, Ariel realized that she was just an exchange card for this man, a card that will bring more wealth and more benefits to the family. The lady took the same letter and apologized for the fact that at the moment she is considering candidates among beautiful peers. The lady said that if she failed to marry a rich man, she would personally compensate for the losses. The man chuckled and asked if she would make up for it herself. He asked how she would do it, because spending money is her only ability. The man was right. Ariel didn't have swordsmanship skills, she didn't know how to control mana, but she had a talent, which was her perfume. The Count may have thought that this was child's play, but her perfume is not a reason for laughter. It is a very powerful weapon. The girl decided to buy the flower shop, but alas, she was 19,500,000 short. The lady did not know what to do because she thought that Ariel would just be independent of the family income. The girl would not have had enough even if she sold all her clothes and jewelry, but she did not want to open a street shop. The maid asked what was wrong because Ariel looked confused. She began to set up a situation for her if, let's say, someone really needs money. Ariel asked the girl for advice, because now she desperately needed it. The maid said that she should borrow from someone, to which she began to think about who could help her. The maid replied by saying that she could ask the senior steward for help. The lady tried to say that it was her friend who needed money, but alas, the maid realized that it was about her. Suddenly, some gray-haired stranger offered to share his opinion about starting a business. He suggested that the lady find an investor to make it easier. The guy said that he knows who Ariel is, but does not want to be misunderstood. After all, Ariel realized that she was very popular among people because she was an excellent perfumer. The maid wondered how he knew all this, although the guy worked in a flower shop where Ariel bought ingredients for perfume. The gray-haired man announced with admiration that all the flower merchants had heard of her, and other perfumers who came to buy flowers mentioned her talent. The lady realized that she could use her recipes to find an investor, and the sooner it finds an investor, the sooner it can start a business. The lady grabbed him by the hands, thanking him for everything. Ariel walked into the distance with a satisfied smile, saying that she seemed to have found a solution. The maid said that it was really a good idea and ran after her. It seems that Ariel knew where to find an investor, an event that brings together powerful nobles with good reputations and opportunities who love to dress up. The most popular ball was the ideal choice. Among rich people, you can find those who are ready to give their money to the perfume business. When they got there, everyone looked at Ariel very askance, because they knew about the current rumors. Ariel herself did not understand what the atmosphere was here, because earlier it was a lot of fun at the balls. People talked about the fact that the lady had no shame at all, that the lady walked with her nose up, discussed how they did not like the fact that Ariel annoyed the Duke, and also put the unfortunate Mr. Rob behind bars. Suddenly, some girl abruptly pushed the lady, saying that she did not notice her. She laughed nervously and said that there was nothing wrong with it, realizing that the lady had done it on purpose. She could not understand what was wrong with Ariel's reputation, because she had previously been a very noble ball for the locals. With such an atmosphere, the girl will not even be able to introduce herself. Suddenly, the stranger defended Ariel, saying that it was not Ariel who put Mr. Marcel behind bars, but Mr. Cedric. She said that if the lady had any problems, then it was worth filing an official complaint with His Grace. And then she turned to people, telling them not to spread groundless rumors. As it turned out, this girl was Charlotte Zenos, Marcel's only child, who has all the power in his hands. Around the Marquise's daughter, there is always someone due to her origin. In addition, the attractiveness of this girl also played a role. Being the queen of all techniques, she sets trends and fashions. The girl concluded that she needed to thank all these people because thanks to them, she became closer to Charlotte. The lady approached Ariel and asked if she was okay. The girl concluded that this was her chance to get even closer, saying that because of this atmosphere, it became a little stuffy. The lady sniffed and asked if Lady Ariel had perfumed. Charlotte said that the girl smelled like a cherry orchard. Ariel smiled at this and thanked the protector, saying that she was a little doubtful about them, since it was the first time she had created a perfume with such an aroma. Charlotte asked if the girl made perfume herself, to which she tried to demonstrate. She put out a new perfume to the girl as a sign of gratitude. To this, Charlotte said that she was forced to refuse because her body did not allow her to use perfume. She was allergic to alcohol, which the girl knew, of course. The fact is that in the novel, Charlotte's sensitivity to perfume was mentioned more than once. To this, Ariel smiled and stated that she made this perfume without using alcohol. To this, Ariel was extremely happy with Charlotte's surprise because this was the first attempt and very successful. Ariel asked the lady to demonstrate so that she understood what she was talking about. To this, the blonde grinned incredulously but still agreed. Ariel squirted it on her wrist, thanks to which the aroma became deeper. The sweet smell of lilacs filled the entire space. The girl was pleased to feel that there were many flowers nearby. Ariel began to talk about how she made this perfume, saying that she used a perfume machine to create it, so even allergy sufferers can use it. She smiled and asked if that was the reason why she had come to the ball. Charlotte cleverly assumed that Ariel was looking for an investor. She began to explain her guesses that at first the girl said that it was just a hobby, but it turned out no worse than that of a professional. She concluded that Ariel wanted to attract her attention. The lady made it clear that she guessed that she took advantage of the fact that the girl was using perfume for advertising purposes. Charlotte knew for sure that this perfume was made especially for the girl. Ariel was insanely embarrassed by such praise and vigilance of the lady. Charlotte said that the girl had nothing to be embarrassed about because anyone would fall in love with such a perfume. She said that the lady had no trading skills, but the perfume was really worthwhile. The lady explained that these praises do not mean that she will become her investor. The blonde smiled and announced that she was inviting Ariel to her family's ball, where there would be many wealthy people. The lady was very surprised that she deserved this invitation, to which she was more embarrassed and looked away. Meanwhile, the counselor asked if Cedric was going to come to the ball. The man replied that the guy should send Charlotte a confirmation reply. The maids began to get Ariel ready for the ball, asking if she was worried. Ariel was afraid that Lena would be worried, so she did not tell her anything, but what to do if this happened again was not clear. The maid began to ask the girl who would be at the ball and why she would go there. The faithful maid began to cheer the girl up, saying that she had the best perfume. She said that she only had to say that someone had offended her. To this, the lady smiled, realizing that the maid was behaving strangely. Ariel concluded that she had already survived one evening, and she would not tolerate such treatment again. The lady decided that she would try to change people's opinion of her. Finally, the lady was dressed and assembled. She looked incomparable. She had a number of rules for that evening, one of which was that she should approach first, show that she was not hostile. It is necessary to make it clear that the girl is not an enemy but a business mom, that she is looking for an investor. But because of her own insecurity, the girl spoke very indistinctly and always stuttered. All of them, hearing her name, did not hide their emotions, grimaced and asked again. And then, at all, they began to talk about the fact that they were very busy and it was better for the girl to leave. The girl was already glad that there was no abuse in her direction, and she was finally able to introduce herself. She decided to put in more effort and desperately approach the people at the ball. But every single person Ariel wanted to talk to grimaced and looked at her incredulously. Ariel was very embarrassed. The girl sat in the corner and watched how the people made her feel superfluous. Ariel did not understand what was wrong with her and why these people were acting as if she had killed someone. She did not understand what to do so that people would not make a sour face when they heard her name. Suddenly, Charlotte came up to her, asking if she was enjoying the evening. The lady decided to open up to the blonde, saying that in truth, she had not yet managed to strike up a conversation with anyone. To this, Charlotte smiled, saying that she seemed to know what was going on. She took Ariel's chin, asking what was the main value of Ariel that she could provide at the evening. It is difficult, because the people gathered here are eminent rich people and promising businessmen who want to get it. She explained that in such a place the most important thing is money. Then she added that these people do not know about her talents for the fragrance, and they can only be attracted by profit. Realizing that people were interested in money and business, the girl seemed to have an epiphany. She realized that if she wanted to declare herself as a business lady in need of an investor, then she needed to represent the perfume first, not herself. Maybe the main character is another person, but for her, Ariel is the main one. The girl said that she fell in love with her perfume and wanted to buy or acquire more. Lady Charlotte was right. The girl should show her perfume in all its glory. Suddenly, the lady turned to the people who were at the ball and only recently made faces. She sprayed some perfume, saying that it was made by herself, suggesting that they try it. One of the ladies, looking at them, decided to try. This perfume was beautiful, and of course the girl really liked its aroma and the effect that it gave. Everyone in the room said that they smelled even better than real flowers. Ariel smiled and thanked everyone for their flattering words. And so the lady decided to declare herself, saying that she was opening her own market, where you could try even more such perfumes. She hastened to tell that she needed a round sum for this when someone abruptly approached from behind. A girl with a bob and uniform asked what was happening here. Next, she asked who made the perfume after learning that Ariel had made it. Charlotte concluded that the ladies would find a common language. This lady had a deeper knowledge of perfumery. Ariel was surprised that the new lady was a newcomer like her, so she concluded that they could be competitors, but in a positive way. Ariel awkwardly gave a positive answer, saying that she had created this perfume personally. The competitor hastened to declare that it was immediately clear that this was a low-grade paddle. Ariel was shocked by such envious audacity and could not understand why, if that girl was a brilliant perfumer, then how could she feel what she was missing? But being talented, the girl makes her products for sale for the first time. Ariel thought that the lady could point out her mistakes and help her in some way. The girl smiled awkwardly and asked to repeat the words she had said earlier. To this, she repeated all these insults towards the perfume, not being shy about anything and not afraid to hurt Ariel. Not wanting in turn to seem rude, the lady smiled and asked to point out her mistakes, since she was such a talented competitor. She looked away and explained that the refreshing aroma would have a citrus base, and the main ingredients were lemon and orange. Also, she explained that these perfumes will not last long. To this, Ariel asked how it differs from ordinary citrus perfume if the citrus quickly evaporates. And the professional suddenly asked what was the highlight of Ariel's perfume. She asked to spray them and taste them before calling it a dummy. Everyone began to giggle, saying that such a specialist as Lady Magnus could not be wrong. She said that Lady Ariel should learn from Lady Magnus. Ariel concluded that these people showed whose side they were and will always be on. The lady realized that she had to fight to prove the value of this fragrance. She easily snatched the perfume from Magnus's hands. She said that she would first present this fragrance to her and then explain everything. The girl just wanted to spray perfume right in the face of that competitor when the main character of this evening appeared. Charlotte greeted Cedric. He smiled at the ladies, thanking them for the invitation. As it turned out, the main investor was Cedric, and it was he who was supposed to take someone's business. Turning around, he saw Ariel, who was very nervous to see her ex-boyfriend. He asked what they were talking about with the other lady. The competitor truthfully answered what they said about Lady Ariel's perfume. She began to talk about how she could not understand how it was possible to come to the evening with such a cheap woman. Suddenly, the guy began to speak, trying to protect his ex. He asked if Magnus had tried to spray perfume. The Count said that the perfume of this girl has a unique property. He said that thanks to the perfume, the performance of his subordinate increased significantly. Even now, he uses them with pleasure. The girl looked away and asked if Magnus was capable of creating something like this. The man asked her not to talk nonsense, not knowing much about it, looking the lady menacingly straight in the eyes. Ariel was amazed that Cedric decided to protect her. But in any case, Ariel was annoyed that she didn't need help at all. She needed recognition of her scent. All the ladies, as if a herd, began to say that if his lordship himself decided to protect the lady, then it was worth paying attention to Lady Winston's perfume. Ariel looked away and said she would step back for a moment and come back. With that, she left the ball to come up with the plan she wanted. At this, Cedric looked at her and asked why she was leaving. The lady concluded that only Magnus would try to catch her eye. From that moment on, Ariel would make them all write a book of compliments to her perfume. She realized that she would have enough for today, and she would return home to correct the recipe. But suddenly, Ariel was stopped by Cedric's harsh voice. He looked at her anxiously, coming a little closer. She wondered if the evening was not in full swing, and why he had suddenly turned his attention back to her. The guy was embarrassed that Ariel hurriedly left. It was strange. Knowing what kind of person Cedric was, he was worried about her spoiled mood. Ariel pulled herself back that she had to be strong and not let this man near her. But suddenly the girl said that the Count's act was very unpleasant to her. She explained that they had already broken up, which meant that he had no reason or need to interfere in her affairs. She asked if he had put an end to their relationship. Ariel stated that he got it very brazenly, and she could handle Lady Magnus herself. She explained that due to his interference, everything was not going according to plan. Saying this, Ariel was not at ease. She wasn't quite sure that Cedric would understand. The counselor brought the necessary documents to Cedric, saying that His Highness was early. Suddenly, he asked if his actions were causing trouble. To this, the guy, frankly speaking, was confused. He asked why he did as he pleased, not caring about others. He could not understand that it seemed that someone had scolded him with His Highness. The advisor quickly refuted his own words because who would dare to insult the Duke? He quickly deduced that it had to do with Lady Winston. When asked how he found out, the guy said that she was often the cause of his bad mood. He asked Cedric to share the problem with him because he can give useful advice. The Duke began to speak, saying that the lady's bewildered appearance had given him a push and a desire to help. The man himself did not understand why he followed her then. He tried to explain that she looked upset, and he couldn't do otherwise. The man remembered with apprehension the desperately irritated look and the words that he was acting selfishly. The counselor was insanely surprised because Lady Winston herself had scolded His Highness. He admitted that he was really worried about it. The blonde realized that Cedric was not indifferent to the girl, and it seemed cute to the guy. He didn't know what the reason was, but Lady Winston had changed a lot, so there was nothing to worry about. The counselor suddenly suggested that he apologize to Lady Winston. The guy began to try to explain why this could upset the lady, despite the fact that the man acted in the interests of the lady. The man looked away and sighed, agreeing with the idea of apologizing to Ariel. He began to write a letter, ordering it to be sent to Winston Manor at dawn. The maid handed a letter from Cedric to Ariel, smiling sweetly. She read the letter, which said that the man had behaved extremely tactlessly at the evening. He said that the words he said to Ariel made him think, and he would like to see him and apologize. Cedric invited the lady to the restaurant to apologize. She arrived in a small carriage with 2 white horses. The girl thought that she had gone too far yesterday because no one had treated Cedric like this before and he must have been shocked. But she concluded that it would be nice to get an apology, so she is here. Therefore, Ariel was very nervous because she did not want to offend someone and then get it. The girl asked the carriage to stop because she wanted to walk. He pointed to the side, pointing out to the lady where the restaurant was. There was still time before the appointed hour, from which the girl decided to walk. But suddenly, a vile sound was heard. Someone had just taken a picture of Ariel from behind, blending into the crowd. Noticing the camera, the lady was surprised and moreover frightened. She shouted that a man with a camera in his hands immediately remove her, thereby attracting the attention of the crowd. The stranger acted very strangely and ran away. She took away, or rather caught his camera, being shocked. The girl could not understand why the guy ran away so quickly, because it was simply impossible. Seeing that he had decided to run away, she had already come up with a plan in her head. She ran after him, shouting for people to hold this pervert man. He ran, shouting that he was just following orders. But suddenly, Cedric tripped him up when he fell to the floor. Thanks to this, Ariel caught this pervert. The man asked what this poor guy had done. To this, Ariel was a little difficult to say because she just had to catch her breath. The man offered to talk in a restaurant. The stranger was brought to his knees, saying that he illegally photographed people without their consent. She stated that she caught the camera that he threw away while trying to escape. Cedric decided that it was worth checking the pictures he had taken. There he saw a bunch of candid photos of himself. He said that he had his own ideas on this matter and he would try to figure it out. Ariel was calm because there was only one picture of her anyway. When he learned that this poor guy had also photographed Ariel, he frowned heavily. The man asked to inform the guards so that he would be punished. The man was taken away, leaving his ex in a misunderstanding. Cedric apologized, lowering his head. He cursed himself guiltily, saying that he had made an appointment to apologize, but again gave her trouble for which he should apologize. The girl could not understand why the man apologized so much for his every rustle. Ariel looked away and said that she was fine and there was no need to worry. But suddenly, Ariel smiled and said that she realized that she had behaved rudely and would like to apologize. The man said that he had treated her without due respect for a long time and owed her a lot of compensation for everything. And he also added that even taking into account that the relationship was tied by a contract, he could not take care of her. And he also explained that even in the difficulties that she experienced after the breakup, there is his fault. The man offered the lady compensation. Suddenly, the lady was shocked because money would come in handy now. With one click, the man assigned the girl a personal guard. The count stated that Ern would protect Ariel perfectly and was responsible for her with his head. Taking off her helmet, Ariel saw how beautiful her bodyguard was. The guy said that Lady Winston could rely on him. Cedric, jealous of the lady, asked him to put on a helmet, for a knight should not reveal himself so easily. Ariel objected to this. It would be very hot to stand in a helmet. Ariel did not understand why Cedric had given her his knight, to which he replied that he could protect himself, and Ariel would need help more than once. It sounded strange and a little offensive to the lady, but she concluded that nothing good would happen if this happened again. The man was a recognized knight of Cedric, so he could be trusted. Ariel stated that she would temporarily accept all his kindness as compensation. Ariel smiled and said that the knight could return when she had gained strength because she could take care of herself. To this, the man got down on one knee and bowed. Taking the mistress by the hand, he kissed her, asking her to take care of him. The girl smiled and then embarrassedly declared that she would go and hurried to leave. The man asked if Ariel should see him off, to which she replied that she was not because she was not a small child who could not even go out on her own. And then she explained that her carriage was very close. She asked Cedric not to worry because Aaron was nearby, to which the man frowned too much not to notice. She was about to leave when the man stopped her again. He wanted to ask about the aroma of Onyxia. The man said that he wanted to change the contract, to which Ariel was surprised. The girl immediately began to think that there were some problems with delivery, and then she thought that a man could cut the price by paying off with a bodyguard. And so he began to talk about payment, but suddenly announced that he would double it. But in return, he asked to resume eternal meetings twice a week. The man said that he could pay even more because the order is very difficult. Ariel couldn't understand why Cedric was acting like this. But still, Onyxia's perfume is her impressive capital, and if the payment increases, she will be able to open a shop faster. Ariel smiled and happily agreed because you need to know how to use any kindness. The girl opened her smile to Cedric again and waved to Cedric and said that she would look forward to seeing him again. The Duke asked just to be careful on the way home. The head maid had many questions when Aaron arrived at the palace. To this, Ariel said that there was no need to be afraid of this 2-meter guy. Aaron nodded and introduced himself, stating that he was a bodyguard sent by the Duke. The maid smiled and said that she was pleased to hear that Ariel was protected. She approached the bodyguard and announced that now they could punish all the scoundrels who encroached on Milady. Ariel was insanely shocked, saying that fortunately they would get along. Raphael came into the room, bringing in his hands the ingredients that had been delivered today, and she left them in the workshop. Entering the perfume shop, she smelled this aroma, such a pure and clear smell, so fresh and would dispel all unnecessary thoughts. She stretched out her hand to the new spruce twigs that gave off freshness in the air. The maid suddenly suggested that we crush it right now as soon as possible. This time, a magic device was used for the essence. Ariel decided that she needed to choose the target of this smell. Aaron stood behind her, watching intently. A clear, pure, refreshing aroma, it was from this that the new bodyguard Ariel was crazy. Looking at the guard, she concluded that she had already decided on the concept. The lady took the guy by the hand, asking him for help. The bodyguard was quite embarrassed and began to get nervous. When the man entered the room, everyone was quite interested. Ariel bought expensive clothes for the guy, considering it a worthy investment. In addition, it suits him very well. Aaron asked what all this was for, to which Ariel asked not to communicate with her as a mistress. He wondered why she thought he would really do her any good. To this, she stated that this was a matter of course, because he could very much help her with her plan. Ariel made the decision that Aaron would become an icon of the high society club. The girl sprayed a new product on the guy's brush. This fragrance, called a morning walk, based on cedar extract, Ariel added the aroma of bergamot and invigorating notes of bamboo, finishing it with a refreshing lemon. Ariel's bodyguard was very impressed with this talent of the girl. Suddenly, a guy appeared in the hall saying that he did not know Ariel yet and wanted to fix it. The girl quickly ran up to him, introducing herself as a brilliant perfumer. He said that he had heard about her, because she created Lady Charlotte's perfume. Ariel said that she was very pleased, and it was a great honor for her that I was starting to get to know her. The stranger announced that the smell of lilacs just turned his head. Sniffing at the bodyguard, he concluded that this refreshing and simply incomparable aroma was also the work of Ariel. The guy, simply without any emotion, confirmed these words. The man began to admire its aroma, saying that it was as if being in a coniferous forest, and this clean and refreshing smell gave him peace of mind. As the fragrance is perfectly suited to Mr., this feeling is enhanced. Afterwards, the long-haired man announced that he was very interested and thought that he could use her perfume. She began to explain that such a fragrance did not suit her. If she had used it on herself, it would not have made the proper impression. She asked if the mister knew that the aroma gives an impression of a person. An invigorating aroma is energy, a warm aroma. It is tenderness. A luxurious aroma can give an impression. She said that perhaps by spraying it on herself, he would match this bodyguard, especially to his face and look. The men literally threw money at the girl, asking where and how they could buy this perfume. And then, he said that he would buy literally 3 bottles from her. The lady knew that these people, these VIPs of the high society club, and rumors about her perfume would fly away in an instant. Ariel, delighted with the money, said that she would send the order directly to the estate. The girl in the perfume shop knocked over quite a lot of bottles on herself. She became very angry and began to tremble, gritting her teeth and growling with anger. The lady shouted that she was very infuriated that she had enough problems because of this Ariel Winston. After all, everything has gone awry since they ignored her. All investors wanted and asked to make magic perfumes, and not understanding how she could not do it, because even Ariel could. The land that the rival has reviewed has unexpectedly increased in value, and opening a salon can be a huge mistake. It seems that the lady was insane to hate Ariel for daring to disgrace her and humiliate her in the eyes of all investors. She said that she would not forgive her no matter what she did, she would pay Ariel in the same coin. Suddenly, a silhouette appeared behind the girl, asking if she was Magnus. The stranger smiled and said that Ariel had really disgraced her in front of everyone. Magnus asked who he was, to which the stranger asked him not to be so harsh. Then he offered to start cooperating against Ariel. But the lady was not going to sign anything, start cooperation, until she knew who she was and what kind of person she was. The man tipped back his hood and introduced himself, saying that he was Ozzy, that is the fifth son of the Empire. The girl was very surprised that the prince himself offered her to cooperate against her main enemy. When asked why he began to cooperate with her, he replied that he hated Cedric Evans. He handed the girl a photograph of Evans, insulting his master in every possible way. Seeing those very candid photos, she did not know what emotion to experience, from which she just grimaced. The lady was amazed, asking why the man was chasing Mr. Evans. To this, he replied that he had been trying to identify his weaknesses for a long time, but nothing worked. To this, the girl said that this was logical, because this is the ideal Mr. Duke. But he continued, saying that he found out who Ariel Winston was. Cedric's only concern was her obsession. And then, he said that he found out that they had recently broken up, to which the girl was surprised because they seemed very close. The man replied that their relationship had always been suspicious. That is why he decided to captivate Ariel's heart with his appearance. The lady said that this was nonsense, to which he replied that for victory all means are good. He offered Fanta a handshake, saying that he would help her, so she needed to do everything to ruin Ariel's business. Further, according to the plan, when she loses heart, the guy will make his move and make her fall in love with him. Fanta concluded that nothing threatened from this crazy plan. They could not understand one thing, whether that guy had any indifference towards Ariel. The guy thought it would be funny to see the rejected Cedric rivet in tears, and Fanta thought that it would be cool to laugh at how Ariel's case would burn and she would go bankrupt. After shaking hands, the man and the girl signed a contract. The man smirked, saying that then he needed to get down to business now. A couple of days later, Ariel was walking through the city and calling for Raphael. The guy greeted the mistress, distracting himself from his flowers. The lady thanked the guy for the ingredients, saying that they helped her a lot. She said that her new perfume, based on cedar extract, has gained immense popularity. Perfumes were not just popular, they literally monopolized the market, men's perfume. The lady said that at this rate she will soon be able to open her store on her own. The guy looked at her awkwardly, asking her to walk with him. He said that a new salon opened yesterday and he thinks she should take a look at it. When she arrived, the girl realized that this was the new Magnus salon. She decided to peek, looking at how she organized the salon, realizing that there were still a lot of goods in addition to perfume. For a moment, the girl became interested. Rumors had already spread about their conflict with that rival. The guy said that if she took a look at this salon, it could do her good. There were a lot of people in the salon who were happy about the opening of Lady Magnus's salon. The aromas were not bad, and the price was quite reasonable, which made people very happy. Suddenly, the lady saw her perfume on sale, with the aroma of lilac barely noticeably enveloping the body. It was very suspicious, and it seems that the girl really stole the perfume from Ariel. Sniffing another perfume, she smelled the very aroma of cedar, which apparently was also simply stolen from her. The guy asked the girl to look up the name of the perfume. The title was A Memory of First Love, and the others, A Night Walk. That's what the guy wanted to show, that this store stole all her work from her. Ariel didn't even have anything to object because the situation was clear as day. Fanta really presented her precious recipes as cheap, thereby taking revenge on Ariel with a reciprocal humiliation. Ariel was furious when she realized that Fanta Magnus was indeed challenging her, trying to humiliate and shame her in a big way. Suddenly, Fanta appeared with her friend, saying that at last such a cheap girl had entered a luxury store. She said that they had not seen for a very long time, emphasizing that the brilliant perfumer Ariel Winston went from house to house with goods, thereby humiliating her. Ariel was insanely embittered and irritated by such statements from her worst enemy. Suddenly, the girl looked up at the guy who was standing behind Magnus and was grinning, faithfully agreeing. Ariel realized that somewhere she had definitely seen that familiar face. Seeing the girl's gaze, he winked at her and smiled, trying to seduce her. Suddenly, Ariel remembered where she had seen this pretty face. She realized that it was the fifth prince of the Beller Empire. In the book, he appeared as a brilliant, handsome man, and he was described as the main pain of the Empress. Ozzy's most important setup as a character is that he is Cedric's nephew. Most likely, due to the fact that Cedric was too perfect, Ozzy hated and envied his uncle very much. He asked Ariel, trying to pick up her identity. The man looked into her eyes, asking if there were any complaints against him. Fanta was quick to boast that her investor was a member of the imperial family. Mangus began to humiliate and gloat at the girl, saying that Ariel did not have a penny. The rival grinned and told Ariel not to worry, because someday there would definitely be a person who would see Ariel's talent that did not exist. Ariel, on the other hand, could not understand why the lady was selling stolen perfume and behaving so shamelessly. The girl suggested that most likely Ozzy was deceived, so he became an investor. The girl realized that she would not just leave it, asking what inspired her to create this perfume, trying to understand her right by the heel. Ariel immediately explained that this perfume seemed very familiar to her, even through a churn. Fanta was silent, to which Ariel irritably asked for a word. Ozzy tried to defend this situation, saying that the Fanta would naturally not respond, because it was he who came up with the concept. Ozzy lied as best he could, making up a story that on that day, for some reason, Lilacs and Bamboo had captured him, asking him to stop pestering the unfortunate Fanta. Ariel was shocked to realize that Ozzy was with this girl and she had not deceived him in any way. But suddenly, Magnus broke down and began to talk about how she knew what Ariel wanted to say about her stealing the recipes from her. But as it turned out, the girl did not even hide it, saying that no one would believe the one who did not even have her own store, and this deception and theft, Ariel would not prove in any way the connection with the strong status of Fanta's investor. The girl smiled and showed Ariel that she wanted her to leave. Pink, in turn, understood that if you leave the place at least for a while, the queue is just huge. Everyone likes this perfume. The man winked at the lady again, saying that they would see each other again, and perhaps very soon. Ariel concluded that thanks to Magnus, she realized the need for her own store. She decided that she would find an investor at absolutely any cost. The man returned to his chambers, sighing languidly, and also began to take off his own tie. The counselor immediately ran up to the gentleman, asking how everything had gone. And also he asked if the man had lunch at a meeting with businessmen. To this, the gentleman said that these conversations and gatherings were simply unbearable. Then the advisor said that he had good news for the Duke because today, on the Rue Seignon, there was gossip that Lady Ariel was looking for an investor. Then he understood why the girl was present at the evening. The advisor said that this is a great chance because the man himself recognized the quality of her perfume. To this he replied that he did not think that he was the one that the lady would like to see. Then the guy said that he had heard that the girl had been in an unpleasant incident. As far as he remembers, the concept of a perfume was stolen from her, but he did not know the details because someone told him about it too. Suddenly, shining a frenzied look at the boy, he demanded that Rick find out everything about this incident. The maid wanted to wake up Lady Ariel when she suddenly found that she was in the perfume shop, and also concluded that the mistress was not lacking in diligence. Going to the right place, the lady found that the lady was lying with her forehead in a notebook and sleeping. Apparently, she had fallen asleep while trying to think over a new concept. When Ariel woke up, she began to drink tea while the maid cleaned her desk. The sleepy diva thanked Rena, saying that she brought her back to life. The lady anxiously asked if everything was fine with the mistress, to which she replied that everything was normal, except for the fact that her head was about to burst and her nose was itching. The maid asked how it was possible to sit over the perfume all night if she said that the perfume had to be finished within 2 hours. To this, the pink-haired woman said that otherwise they would not see investors. To which the maid was worried. She said that she still needed to take care of her health. She said that she would prepare the bathroom for the mistress, and after that, she would have to go to bed, and this was not negotiable. Even if Ariel overdid it, the result is worth it, because she has developed a new product and sketched out a business plan, and all that remains is to find an investor and her business will go up. Ariel also concluded from there that this sleepless night was a great decision. Suddenly, the butler announced that the lady had appeared and was already waiting for her. What was Ariel's surprise when Cedric turned out to be that guest? And also, it was funny that Cedric's advisor was in the same state as Ariel. The girl came down the stairs and asked what had brought the guy here. To which the Duke said that his case brooked no delay. He apologized for not announcing his arrival in advance. The man said that in their relationship, not only the perfume that she made for him could be urgent, but in an instant, Cedric said that he had heard rumors that the lady's perfume recipes had been stolen. The man handed the girl a product that was made on the basis of the perfume stolen from her. Ariel was surprised that rumors about it spread so quickly. She looked up sadly, asking the man if he believed her, because it could be that she was the one who stole the perfume from her. To this he said that he had a chance to taste many fragrances created by her, and such a cheap one, he definitely could not be fooled. But suddenly, Cedric said that he had heard that the girl was looking for an investor, for which he offered his candidacy. Cedric is already in charge of many things. If a reliable businessman and investor Cedric invests in her business, then it will definitely become successful. But the girl wondered, what if he offered it because of a sense of remorse? Ariel had a strong, unpleasant feeling that she was using Cedric. But for investment, the lady has conditions and she thinks that he will not mind. The investor asked to show everything that the lady has already prepared, and he will gladly choose everything that he considers necessary for promotion. The girl had prepared one unique perfume that resembled the smell of roses. Ariel took the Duke's hand, asking him to go to the laboratory because she could show everything right now. Rena vouched to prepare everything so that the new investor would take a look at what he would invest his money in. To begin with, the girl provided for her business plan, on which she worked for about a day. Ariel's first target is the salon. She has developed a plan to open it, and it also provides a concept for her new product. Her nerves were naughty more than the girl thought. She was afraid that the man would not like her plan, and even worse, her product. But suddenly, Cedric announced that the business plan was excellent and he was very impressed. The girl shared that in the future she would like to supply perfume to the palace, and it would be nice to open a second store. Ariel apologized for these words because she was too worried. But suddenly, the Duke said that he would like to test a new product, asking if it was possible. To this, the lady gladly agreed, saying that this perfume is called the Rose Garden, and she used velour rose and Turkish rose as the main components. This highlights the innocent purity of the fragrance, as well as the guy can smell the scent of roses that is different from the rest of the mass-market perfumes. She sprayed the perfume on the man's wrist, to which the advisor replied that the fragrance was like being in a garden in the morning, in which the most beautiful roses were collected, absorbing drops of dew. The fragrance is the embodiment of the noble rose shrub. Thanks to the fabulous aroma, the play of imagination gave that the man saw the Duke sprinkled with rose petals. The Duke himself concluded that such an aroma could not be found anywhere else. The girl felt different when she was praised by Cedric and not by her servants. Since the man approved not only the business plan but also the product, he said that the business plan is so detailed that it is even difficult to believe that this is a beginner's project. Moreover, Ariel perfectly proved her outstanding abilities in creating perfume. And now the man finally said that he had decided to invest in this business. Saying that Ariel would not disappoint Cedric, they left, waiting for new meetings. The counselor reported that they had not gone to Winston Manor in vain. This is true because the man managed to get an excellent project, and it seems that he will see a couple that soon recovered. Surprisingly, the man already knew who to suspect. He stated that this could cause trouble for Lady Winston, so it was worth keeping an eye on him. Cedric was genuinely flattered that he would be Lady Winston's partner in the future, and that all her problems were now common. The maid began to praise the girl and congratulate her on the fact that soon they will open their own store. To this, Ariel stated that the Knight of Urn had also done a good job. Despite Cedric's help, there was a lot to do, and the girl personally decided to take care of the store's affairs. The girl did not want to rest. She was embarrassed to waste time. Ariel was wondering when Cedric would contact her, when suddenly the knight and maid burst into her chambers, informing her that the Duke had sent the necessary information, or rather, the fact that the construction of the store was completed. The guys went to look at the store, or rather Ariel's perfume. The lady was surprised to receive the news, for the Duke had said that it would take at least a few months. In fact, the man demanded that the construction be completed as soon as possible. Entering inside, the girl was insanely excited, but once inside, she gasped with delight. Ariel could not believe that this was really her shop, to which Cedric replied that the second floor was tripled so that it was possible to live there. And the store had a hall, a kitchen, and of course a laboratory, which was quite amazing. Ariel dreamed of having her own store all her life. She was even ready to cry, realizing that she had really fulfilled this cherished, one might say, dream, that she had 2 lives. But the surprises did not end there. The store still had its own garden, where Ariel could grow plants that were needed to create perfume. While the girl was looking at the flowers, the maid said that she wanted to try the cuisine, asking if they wanted tea. But suddenly the knight asked for forgiveness, saying that now was not the right time for a tea party because the guests were already waiting outside the doors. The girl was extremely shocked because they did not really advertise this store, and a lot of people had already run in. Meanwhile, the malevolent, envious woman watched the discovery, realizing that she had failed to break Ariel's spirit and desire to develop as a perfumer. The girl burst into the sleeping Keelan, calling him a jerk. She concluded that a man can only speak well, but in fact he is of no use, as well as no help. Magnus shouted that a man has no right to sleep in such a situation because all the customers have gone to Ariel. To this, the pale face said that this is a trifle and you shouldn't be so angry about it. Magnus shouted that before the official opening, people had crowded around Ariel's salon, and not only would an aunt not come to her store because of this, but Cedric had also become her investor. The blonde said that he had already reconnoitered the situation. The girl said that he should initially deprive the lady of investors, instead of talking about trifles, because he promised to take over Ariel. He said that Fanta was too close-minded, because in order to plunge a man into the depths of despair, he had to give him a taste of victory, and then take him away. The man said that the girl should follow him, because he had a way to pull off a good plan. Finally, the working day is over, and Ariel saw off the last customer. The day went well, and the store is officially open. It's been a week since they officially opened, and the girl's opening hours were serving customers, and with the sunset working on a perfume, running the business of the store, the lady felt in herself that business is not so easy. But the most pleasant thing for the girl was to watch how her money was accumulating. The lady concluded that Cedric would be very happy with such a profit, but first she announced that she would go to buy ingredients. As she walked through the city, Ariel said that they would need lilacs, roses, and cedar. She wanted to say that they would buy quickly and immediately return when she saw the way people in the city were looking at her. These people disappeared in an instant, and Ariel realized that the people were avoiding her. Suddenly, Raphael ran up to the lady, asking if the girl had noticed the strange behavior of people. The guy told what happened at the opening of their salon. 2 suspicious people in raincoats appeared on the street of flower shops and offered to promise not to sell the ingredients to Ariel's perfume salon. For this, they will receive 20 million encores every day. Ariel knew right away that it was the work of Magnus and Keelan. It was logical, because without ingredients there will be no perfume, and customers will go to the Magnus store. The girl assumed that they would create obstacles, but she did not think that it was so artless. The guy said that he personally refused, because he was arriving on the side of the mistress. But suddenly Ariel said that she was not going to meekly tolerate this and would take proper measures. At the table, the girl talked about how she had been thinking about going out last night, and she had 2 options. The first was to pay a large amount and lure the merchants, and the second was to personally grow the ingredients in their garden. But since they did not have the proper funds, the option was obvious. Suddenly the maid asked if it was time for them to intervene. Although he seems to be a small fry, he still has royal blood in him, and she can be imprisoned for insulting the royal family. The girl was surprised to see Cedric standing right in front of her. To this, the knight said that it was he who contacted him, because it seemed to him that the lady was in a rather difficult situation, and he thought that His Highness could help. Ariel realized that the guy was right, because if Cedric intervened, she wouldn't even have to worry about the matter. He is the girl's investor. This reason is enough to ask him to intervene. But suddenly, the pale-faced woman said that she wanted to solve this problem on her own and in no other way. And like a child, Ariel asked the Duke to give her at least a hint of what to do. To this, he asked if the girl knew Gibbert, because she was the head of a large trading guild. And also, responsible for the circulation of various goods, her merchant guild has ties to many families and plays a huge role in the economy of the Beller Empire. And also, Jaina is always looking for the opportunity of the deal. The man heard that they are currently settled on the border of Beller. Cedric offered the lady to make a deal with the woman. They arrived at the place and apparently saw the merchant guild. They just left the capital and as if they were in another country. A man with blue hair greeted the girls, holding out his hand to them and hurrying up to find out what they were doing here. Ariel introduced herself, stating that she had come to meet with Mrs. Jane, to which he surprised the guests and demanded that they follow him. Ariel suddenly realized that Cedric was right, and here, there was everything that the girl was looking for, and everything was fresh. The lady concluded that by all means, she had to make this deal. Jane inquired where her guests had come from. The girl said that she came from the Winston family, to which Winston replied that she would not talk much with the fact that she was not going to make a deal with her. She apologized, saying that she should have learned the etiquette of the merchant guild before visiting. The blonde laughed that Lady Ariel had actually done it. She promised to tell the lady about the etiquette of the merchant guild because there is nothing difficult here. Charlotte said that the most important thing for the merchant guild was the goods, and that Mrs. Jane spoke only to those who presented her with things to her liking. She had brought with her a golden vase decorated with jewels. Ariel realized that she liked expensive things, and for that matter, she would like to give her perfume, but she knows absolutely nothing about her. The girl wondered if there was any information on what was better to present to her as a gift. To this, Charlotte announced that she had heard that they had been overwhelmed by scarons lately. Macarons are birds with a very bad character, and scarons love to hunt, so they often visit the forest and every time they cause problems for travelers. These birds have a very developed sense of smell, and at any attempt to catch them, scarons catch the smell of a person and fly away. Charlotte offered to go there in person and show herself in hunting wild birds. But suddenly she abruptly changed her mind, saying that she did not have enough time, but there she offered her close friend for this role. Ariel choked on her tea when she found out that this friend was Cedric. But suddenly, the blonde asked the girl why she was so surprised. Did she really not like Cedric? Although the point was not whether she liked him, but the fact that according to the plot of the original, he is such a frightening person that no one will dare to pronounce his name. However, when she met him in person, she realized how different it was from the novel. Despite the first impression, he turned out to be unusually sensitive and polite. Therefore, her feelings for Cedric began to manifest, which was quite frightening. Ariel hastened to explain that she and Cedric had an investor-owner relationship, and she could hardly contact him for personal reasons. The lady had a feeling that she had disconnected from her original goal, because recently she wanted to end their relationship once and for all. The girl was thinking about what she would need to do when the main character appeared. The lady had indeed thought that although they had become close to the Duke, he was so busy that he was unlikely to come to her aid, but that was not the case. Cedric bluntly stated that helping the girl is his duty as an investor, so there can be no more important deeds. Ariel thought that Cedric was also a human being and that he needed a change of scenery, which was mediated by a desire to help. The man offered to help the lady climb on the horse, sitting her in front of him, gently holding her hands. The Duke pondered, trying to change his mind, repeating that he had a business relationship with Ariel and that his goal with her was only a business partnership. However, he sincerely did not understand why it was so attractive, why he wanted to spend more and more time together. Cedric was glad that he had the opportunity to show the hunting area under the control of the duchy. He offered to let the girl off her horse and look around, because the scarons appear in the area where they were. Walking through the forest thicket, the man suddenly asked the lady to freeze because he heard strange sounds that could accompany the attacks. The man said that you should be especially careful because Scaron loves shiny and beautiful things, while the bird, in turn, pierced the girls with its gaze. Suddenly, a huge bird jumped on Cedric with a wild cry, hoping to attack and rob him. The man reacted quickly and, taking the blow, ordered the lady to hide behind him. Having decided that the creature needed to be caught, he fired a special weapon, wrapping the bird in a net. But suddenly she began to make pitiful sounds and cry, trying to cover her face with her wings. It seems that the bird had a broken leg, to which the girl tried to approach, but Cedric did not allow it, asking not to fall for these cunning tricks. But suddenly a satisfied face appeared on the pussy of this crying bird, to which it, getting out with a loud cry, flew up. This bird clung to the heads of the servants, literally tearing off their hair in clumps. Cedric looked away at the lady, asking if she was okay, but she turned out to be completely priced, except that she was shocked by such actions. The hunters concluded that the rumors really do not lie, and this bird has a very vile nature and character. The maid offered to hide, but there is no point in it, because the flying ones will find the guys by smell. The feathers of this terrible beast stinked and resembled the smell of urine, which made everyone's faces twist. But Ariel was very satisfied with the smell, because if her memory serves her correctly, the origin of this smell is musk. If it is enough to dry it and mix it with alcohol, it will become an excellent base note, giving all the components tenderness and nobility. The girl realized that thanks to this, she would make a great gift for Jaina. The servants, and not only them, sincerely did not understand how these stinking feathers could be used to make good perfume, but after making sure that the mistress had a plan, they still collected feathers. The girl herself understood that the request to collect this stench sounded very strange, but the man said that she had a reason for which she needed this ingredient. Arriving at her perfume shop, the lady finally finished the perfume she needed. She called it the musky scent of Scaron. Ariel, glad that she was finally able to finish, offered the maid to try it on herself. But Rena was extremely scared and even a little unpleasant that this perfume was made of those feathers, and its smell resembled urine. The girl decided that she should trust her mistress, and opening the bottle, she felt a soft and sweet aroma. At the same time, this smell enveloped warmth and pleasant feelings. Being captivated by this beautiful perfume, Rena mistakenly hugged the knight, thinking that it was her mistress. The effect of musk was much stronger than Ariel expected. She decided that she would need to adjust the dosage to avoid this. The maid was delighted, saying that you need to have a great talent to change the smell of urine so oppositely. This time the perfume turned out to be special. She announced them as a perfume that will rein in the Scarons. Jane stated that she really hoped that it was not a waste of time, to which Ariel asked to believe her, because she would definitely be satisfied. Ariel mixed special ingredients that resembled the smell of the deep forest inhabited by the Scarons. The perfumer applied the liquid to the woman's brush so that she could taste its essence. Jaina called it the very essence of nature, because the acrid smell disappears and a heavy wild aroma remains. Ariel said that this wild aroma would just help merchants, and she would like the lady to check it out personally. Saying that the lady was very confident in herself, she offered to set off. Even Rena noticed that something strange was happening in the forest, because they could literally see the Scarons from under the bushes, who were staring at them with predatory eyes. The creatures literally surrounded them, to which the frightened maid asked if it should be so. Ariel told that the forest hunter is the pungent aroma of the ruler of the forest. Thanks to this smell, the Scarons will take a woman for a rival. It was like a welcoming ceremony for a new friend, to which Jane announced that she would try to trust these spirits. But suddenly, judging by the complexion, the leader of these birds flew up. The lady held out her hand to Scaron, trying to see if he would be submissive. But after sniffing, the huge flying animal began to attack and scream, getting into a fighting stance and spreading its wings up. The girl began to panic, because it seems that her at first glance brilliant perfume did not work at all, to which the woman said that she had no other choice and took out a small dagger. But suddenly, this creature fell on its back, asking to stroke its belly and caress its feathers. Jane began to stroke and scratch his belly, to which she received gentle sounds. Everyone really began to think that the girl had made a mistake, but as it turned out, she is really the same brilliant perfumer as they say about her, and this is not just rumors, but a personal truth. Ariel was afraid of a side effect due to the strong smell of musk, but fortunately everything worked out, and since the smell of musk also stimulates arousal. Scaron quickly mistook Jane for his mistress, not an enemy or even a friend. The woman, approaching Ariel, said that she did not know that her headache would become so submissive, and now there was no need to hunt Scarons. Jane said that she liked the fragrance because it was so charming, also saying that she was very much looking forward to cooperation. She decided that she should send a return gift for the perfume, and sent Ariel many ingredients, even among the fresh basics, as well as many new and unique products. In one of the boxes, the girl noticed a magical enhancement elixir. This elixir was written down in Ariel's notebook, and it said that it enhanced the effect of the perfume. With its help, the lady made several goods at once. But suddenly, once again, having tried her perfume on Rena, the girl realized that something was wrong, but all the bottles were the same, and she had no idea which one. Ariel realized that this was a huge failure because people who experienced this aroma began to pester each other, feeling very excited. The perfumer did not understand what to do because horror was happening around. Suddenly, the Duke appeared at the manor, asking what was going on here. But at the moment when the maid wanted to try another, all the bottles fell and shattered right on Cedric's trousers, enveloping him in an overly sweet aroma. The girl knew that if Cedric was affected by the side effect, she would simply not survive it. Ariel was about to ask if her investor was okay, when suddenly Rena began to kiss the mistress's hands, stating that she would forever serve only her and no one else. And the knight began to shout that Mrs. Winston could entrust him with anything and he would do everything perfectly right now. The Duke reported that Ariel's addition of the enhancement elixir made him surprised. To this, the girl said that she wanted to try to diversify the perfume. It was very surprising that the perfume did not affect the man in any way. He said that nothing works on him except for the spirits from Onyxia. The Duke said that he had come to find out about the deal with the Merchant Guild, and in the end he was honored with such an amusing sight. But suddenly he said that real magic perfume would have value for business because its advantage is obvious. The girl offered to change the environment and discuss these details. Everyone began to advertise her perfume as magical, which could even heal diseases and wounds. Buyers asked how much this magical perfume cost because it was interesting to find out its effect, that they would not even close their eyes to try it as soon as possible. But suddenly, Ariel smiled and apologized, saying that this perfume was not for sale at all. Everyone rebelled because their mistresses would literally kill them if they returned without perfumes, and Ariel herself could not explain why they were not on sale. Suddenly, 3 girls came to the perfume shop asking if she was Lady Winston. The perfumer asked the children to leave because magic perfumes are not for sale, but they suddenly shouted, saying that they had not come to buy them at all but to place an order. They began to explain that one of them had very serious insomnia, and no matter what they tried, nothing helped. When asked how it happened, the girls replied that the guys from the academy very often annoy Sasha, and it all grew into an injury, which is why she cannot sleep. The poor child suddenly fainted from lack of sleep, but the girls managed to successfully catch her, saying that they would definitely help her. The girls, literally with tears in their eyes, begged the great perfumer to help. After thinking for a couple of seconds, Ariel decided that it would be difficult to refuse them and agreed, on one condition. The girl smiled slyly and said that for the sake of Sasha, they must sacrifice themselves. The children began to say that they would not be frightened by any sacrifices because the girl with insomnia is their only friend. In fact, the girls should have just experienced this perfume all together, as it is a new product. This perfume evokes fond memories. The lady changed the recipe found in Ariel's smell diary, using sweet and warm smells such as cocoa and tonka. Ariel, adding freshness and depth to the fragrance with yuzu and grapefruit oils. Warm memories have the effect that Sasha needs most now. Ariel sprayed perfume on her wrist, which resembled the smell of mousse cake that the girls ate yesterday. Sasha realized that she had memories of how they ate desserts together. The girl said that this perfume gives a sense of security due to its warm, sweet, and cozy smell. After these words, the children immediately began to fall asleep because their souls became warmer and more comfortable. These spirits are able to stir up memory. Thanks to this, the soul becomes calmer. In fact, the original perfume plunges people into eternal sleep, but Ariel slightly changed the recipe. But suddenly, the perfumer was afraid that the side effect would be the same eternal sleep. When Sasha woke up, she said that for the first time in a long time she slept very peacefully. The girl asked how much this perfume costs, because thanks to its effect, she would like to buy it. But the girl only smiled softly and said that let it be a gift, because the little lady can take them if she likes them. But suddenly, Sasha decided that she would become Ariel's henchman, informing her about it. As a result, all the girls, following Sasha, wanted to participate in this. But suddenly, the girl remembered that these girls had done a lot of evil, being minions of the original version of Ariel. But the children asked not to reject their mistress, because they would do whatever she ordered. Rena and the knight were going to buy the right ingredients for perfumes when suddenly the maid saw a rat. Having beaten the unfortunate animal, she hurried to get to the right destination. The hooded man, after first following them, headed towards the pale-faced man. Mr. Kian was sitting on the veranda drinking tea, reading something. The man said that the rumors that Ariel was making magical perfumes turned out to be true. He also said that Winston's influence is growing rapidly. Then the gentleman said that although he did not want to do this, he would have to take away the lady's magic perfume. He instructed the guy to do another thing, or rather, to break into the store and steal the recipe diary. Ariel talked about how Mrs. Jane could help with a deal in the west of the country, but so far it was only in the slats, but she would try very hard. Also, the girl said that they are preparing a party in honor of their opening. Cedric was very surprised that the lady invited him to take part in this. Upon learning that Ariel would be there, the Duke agreed, saying that he had not congratulated her properly on the discovery. Cedric said that he would wait for the lady to contact him. The lady thanked Rena for organizing the table because it turned out to be very beautiful. Suddenly, a blonde woman came up to the girl congratulating Ariel on the discovery. All those who came to her evening began to give flowers to the girl, congratulating her on the opening of her perfume shop. To this, Ariel stated that she was very grateful that they had come. Even the investor himself came with a bouquet of pink flowers, saying that the store was still beautiful. After handing the flowers to Ariel, Cedric hurried to remove the petal from her pink hair. For some girls, the girl even gave a small perfume, saying that it would help them find true love. They said that they would use them on the most important days for them. A guy sat down next to the Duke, saying that it was a great honor for him to see something that Cedric disrespected as much as possible, without even looking in his direction. Noticing where the man was looking, he hurried to ask what connected him with this lady. To this, he quietly replied that he was its investor. Then Raphael introduced himself, saying that he owned a flower shop. Then he sighed languidly and wished him prosperity. But suddenly, Ariel herself approached the guys, asking what they were doing so much. She said that Luna and the children had prepared a simple game and invited them to participate. To this, Cedric said that he thought it was time for him to go. The Duke was already too late, so he said that he had a good time left the party. The blonde suddenly shared that she was very surprised that His Highness was always busy and still came to the event. To this, the girl said that he was an investor and he was supposed to come, but the lady continued that the investor would not look at her with such a look. She was surprised that Ariel really hadn't noticed. The girl said that his gaze was fixed, that she was even worried that he would burn a hole in his dress. One of the children also said that she believes that Cedric likes the girl because the premonition of the moon is not wrong. To this, Ariel tried to explain that the Duke did not feel anything for her, and neither did she for him. The girl was well aware that Cedric had a real protagonist, that he simply could not love her. A man from under the corner watched the celebration, quietly saying that he had finally found Ariel Winston. Cedric, strange as it may seem, had only to blow on the lady, and he became a little happier. The counselor instantly warned the Duke that the fifth prince had sent a spy to Lady Winston's store. He immediately turned around, but the guy tried to stop the man because he had been unwell lately. He offered to send another knight, to which the man said that one would be enough. The spy concluded, sneaking into the perfume shop, that he just needed to steal the recipes and get a tidy sum. He began to search for the diary in the drawers, when suddenly Cedric appeared menacingly above him. With light movements of his hands, he knocked him to his knees, hitting his head on the floor. After making sure that the lady was safe, he ordered the spy to pack up and go home. He was amazed, because the Duke had really overestimated his strength. But in an instant, that guy's ally appeared in front of him, with a sword in his hands. Taking out his dagger, the investor rushed into battle, but the opponent successfully covered his blow with his weapon, pushing the thick blade away from him. The knight managed to brush off and cut Cedric's clothes, to which Cedric wondered who had sent him to them. But he, only saying that he would turn the Duke into a monster again, threw the bottle, spraying an unusual smell. The man covered his nose, realizing that it was a demonic aroma. Having insulted the man with a monster, he moved a little further. The smell of Onyxia was a temporary remedy that turned Cedric into an ordinary person. The stranger, saying that the guy would soon find out everything, said goodbye. The man fell to the ground, losing consciousness when he realized that he was unable to control himself. Ariel woke up in her warm, cozy crib. She touched the rose petals that had been given to her the day before, realizing that they were still fresh. But suddenly, hearing strange sounds, the girl found a loud Rena. She said that it was dangerous here and Ariel should not approach the Duke, who was lying on the floor. But the lady, approaching him, began to ask if everything was all right. She asked what he was doing here, to which he only fell asleep on her shoulder. The man said that the scent of the lady really gives calmness. A couple of hours later, the Duke apologized for the inconvenience. The girl suddenly wondered who Cedric had fought, because he looked disheveled. To this, in order to avoid answering, he said that it was time for him to go. The next customer was a pale-haired girl in a pink outfit. She wondered if Duke Evans had just come out of the store. Suddenly, the buyer asked to create a perfume that can make you fall in love with herself. In the original, Ariel tried to create such a perfume, but none of the attempts were successful. The lady wondered if there was a reason why the girl was sure that she could create such a perfume. To this, the stranger replied that she had heard Lady Luna and Lady Eileen whispering. Ariel hastened to explain that these words were just a dummy for children. To this, she stated that she knew that Ariel and Cedric were closer than in the past. The blonde handed the girl the box, asking her to take a look. There was a very rare plant from Mount Daphne. According to legend, the goddess Euphenel fell in love with the shepherd at first sight, and when he reciprocated her feelings, they planted this plant and used it for smoking candles. Ariel was not familiar with the legend, but she knew the effect of perfume very well. It has such a charming smell that there is even a legend that it captivates people. The lady tried to get it with such difficulty, but failed. Then the buyer asked who Ariel liked so much that she was ready to do this. She stated that Ariel would be surprised to see someone she wants to fall in love with. This man was the Baron's son, Kenan Arzin. The girl immediately concluded that he was still handsome. Ariel reported that she understood Lady Cleo. Then, the blonde told him that they had been friends for 10 years, but she wanted to confess to him because she heard that the effect lasts a maximum of a week, but she doesn't care if she can get his heart. She suddenly wondered if there was any point in love received by the power of magic. Ariel agreed to the girl's terms. But also, the perfumer warned that this is the first time she has seen this plant, so there is a high probability of failure. Magnus shouted at her ally because all her plans had once again failed. They even bribed the owners of flower shops, but Ariel made a deal with the head of a large trading guild. To this, the man only snorted, saying that they would not have to go to all these extremes if the lady knew how to create perfume. But suddenly smiling, the blonde said that Fanta had nothing to worry about, because he had a great plan. He explained that the feast of St. Katrina is approaching. Kian confidently stated that on it he would definitely be able to get Ariel. Ariel set to work, creating that love perfume. She succeeded quite successfully, because there was a feeling that could awaken and excite the heart. Rena offered the lady to taste some cake as she inhaled the aroma. But suddenly, putting the perfume on the table, she smelled a pleasant smell. The girl asked how she felt this fragrance, to which she asked where it came from. She said that this is a real masterpiece and Ariel will be able to get rich instantly. To this, Ariel said that these ingredients are too rare and impossible to buy. As a result, it will not be possible to create a lot of such perfumes. But in an instant, the maid began to say that the lady was extraordinarily beautiful today. The long-awaited evening ball began. It was built in honor of the patron saint of all lovers, St. Katrina. But Ariel suddenly began to think that she shouldn't have come here. She was embarrassed, especially when Charlotte noticed her, calling her to her. Ariel thanked the lady for the invitation, to which she said that she was always glad to see her. Today, Charlotte also noticed that Ariel was too beautiful. She really looked rested and lovely, as if she had slept well and gained a lot of strength despite the fact that she worked hard. The blonde asked if the lady had a new perfume, to which she replied that apparently this fragrance was absorbed into the skin while she was mixing the components. The aristocrat noticed that it was a very wonderful and warm smell. Ariel seemed to bewitch people behind her, who continued to say pleasant things. One girl even asked if this perfume was sold, to which Ariel replied that it was not on sale. And the other even noticed that the effect of this smell is that the heart begins to beat faster. But suddenly, in order to avoid disgrace, the girl decided to leave the ball. She concluded that today's reaction to it is different from the previous one. Suddenly, she was met by the same customer who asked about the fragrance she needed. To this, Ariel pulled a bottle of perfume out of the box. This loving armada was in a heart-shaped package with a black bow at the end. After appreciating them, the lady said that they were very cute. This fragrance is like fresh flowers and also sweet like honey. She immediately realized that the aroma really enchants and envelops with love. However, there is a condition for the effect to manifest itself. The partner must have been interested for a long time. To this, Cleo said that there is such a possibility. The lady wished her good luck and left, to which she shouted that she would never forget this help. Gathering courage, Cleo decided to approach, spraying the elixir on herself. But suddenly, her partner found her himself approaching from behind. He said that he was looking for the girl everywhere. At the ball, the couple got into the dance, and it seems that the plan worked successfully. Ariel, standing aside, was happy as if for herself. Despite severe fatigue, the girl had a good experience. But suddenly, someone's rough voice was heard. Cedric came up to the lady, who had been looking for her all evening. He stated that Ariel's smell had changed a lot. The man said that this fragrance was not familiar to him, and if Charlotte hadn't told him, he would have thought that Ariel had already left. To this, the lady was surprised that he checked by the aroma whether she was eating or not. She immediately presented him in the form of a dog, realizing that he had a dog's nose. Cedric asked if the lady had any changes in her state of mind. After all, they say that if a person changes perfume, then his condition has undergone a change. To this, the lady said that she had just developed a new fragrance on an errand. The Duke said that he was here at Charlotte's request, or rather, it was a deal. His presence had an additional effect. Of course, the Duke's participation will take the evening ball to a new level. Cedric held out his hand, inviting the lady to dance. To this, Ariel reported that she had hardly slept. She said that it was not so important. After all, it was important whether the man had more frequent symptoms. Recently, he has begun to drink more, and given his strange state, Cedric's madness is amplified in line with the original. From these thoughts, the girl felt sorry for him. The man suddenly wondered why Ariel was looking at him like that. Ariel said that she thought she needed to treat His Highnesses better. Since Cedric is the main character, Ariel will try to make an effort. For others, perfume is a matter of personal preference, but for the Duke it is a vital necessity. Cedric smiled and said that if he thought Ariel was interested in him, he again tried to invite the lady to dance, taking her by the hand. Ariel agreed to only one dance. The perfumer noticed that today, and men are unusually in a good mood. The Duke said that this is a special day for him. Cedric smiled when Ariel noticed his strange look. She thought that perhaps this behavior was due to perfume, but it was not difficult to refute this fact in an instant, because it could not affect the man. Ariel did not know how to dance at all, because she trampled all the Duke's feet. The man said that there was no need to worry about this. He said that we should just concentrate on it. They began to dance again, piercing each other with loving eyes. But suddenly Ariel pushed the man away from her, saying that it was getting too hot. She didn't understand why her heart was beating so hard. An advisor approached the Duke, saying that the Baron was waiting for him. Cedric turned to the girl and said that he had to go. A little more and the atmosphere would have been strange, so Ariel left too. She tried to understand why the Duke suddenly began to behave like this, but suddenly, the prince himself appeared at the ball and everyone began to talk about it. But for some reason, His Highness's gaze did not take off the perfumer. Ariel bowed in greeting and said that she hadn't expected to see him here, to which he said that he was amazed at her talent, because for the sake of business, she tied her ex to her. To this she only laughed, saying that it seemed to her that His Highness was afraid of her. She said that it was not enough for them to copy her perfume, but they also bribed the sellers of flower shops. Everyone in the hall hearing this began to whisper and discuss. Then the prince demanded proof that he did it, because Ariel is clearly delusional. The girl began to be impudent, saying that if he wanted to compete, then let him do it right. The perfumer looked away, asking to leave, because apparently the prince had nothing more to say. But suddenly he and Magnus offered to fairly measure their strength with the main perfumer of the store. Ariel didn't want to put so much effort into them, but they began to provoke her. The couple put forward a condition that if they lost, they would close the perfume store, but if she wins, Ariel will have to become his perfumer. Ariel asked what kind of competition they would choose, to which Fanta replied that it was a matter of course making perfume. But with one condition, ladies must create a perfume that will suit her investor. Ariel tried to analyze this order, realizing that her investor was not around and it would be difficult. But suddenly, literally from the crowd, he appeared, looking at the girl quite confident in her victory. All the people crowded around the participants, and some did not even understand what was happening. Everyone understood that Winston had a small but well-known store. They prepared an equal number of ingredients. The side that received the most votes will win. Ariel wondered what scent might be perfect for Cedric. Because of the original, he seemed to her a terrible tyrant, but she sincerely considers him a kind person. And sometimes she does not understand at all what he is thinking. The girl made a clear choice that she needed to win the competition. One girl began to worry that Ariel's rivals had come here fully prepared, and Lady Ariel was at a disadvantage. But the Duke replied that, however, he was confident in Lady Winston's abilities. But suddenly, Ariel noticed a sticker on Fanta's perfume, realizing that they had prepared in advance. She glanced at her perfume, wondering if they could have mixed something strange into it. After all, given all their infantile actions, she cannot let them down. The girl concluded that now a great chance to teach them a lesson. Ariel raised her hand, informing her that she was done. When she was allowed to check the perfume first, she approached her investor. She gave the perfume to him, asking him to spray it. This perfume is called Duke on a Moonlit Night. Ariel used a black orchid to create a heavy, exhilarating fragrance. Over time, the subtle, warm, and sweet aroma of base notes will remain on the skin. This smell will give a different charm. Everyone inhaled her perfume, realizing that the fragrance was gloomy, but at the same time warm, noble, and charming, just like the Duke. Ariel also said that this fragrance can be used by anyone, regardless of gender. Fanta suddenly began to say that hot days would come very soon, and whether it would not be too stuffy to use such a perfume. And especially for the approach of summer, she has prepared an invigorating grapefruit aroma. It is called the Prince of the Imperial Palace, because everyone can feel the natural freshness of lemon, as well as the sweetness of grapefruit. Everyone concluded that the smell is very fresh and natural, so refreshing that you begin to feel cheerful. One even said that it is wonderful for summer because it is citrus. To this, Fanta smiled and shouted that Ariel had recently said that it was cheap and banal. Also, she began to advertise her store, saying that they could buy this perfume at a low price. The Duke of a Moonlit Night is more elegant and exciting, but the aroma of grapefruit is more suitable for everyday life. People began to compare their fragrances, trying to choose the best one. In this case, the man suggested dividing into two sides in order to understand how many votes there are for the right perfumes. He approached the people and asked them to do this, that is, to go over to the parties, to Ariel or to Fanta. But suddenly, the blonde began to sneeze, interrupting his monologue. He said that he forgot to say that he was allergic to grapefruit. Fanta began to scream because her investor informed her about it only now, to which the man realized that he was going to vomit. Investor Fanta went to the toilet from pain due to allergies. People began to discuss that the lady did not even know about the guy's allergies. Some even changed their minds about the girl's perfume, and Fanta promised herself that she would never believe her investor again. The girl turned to the lady and shouted that she would take revenge on her, and they would see who was the best perfumer here. At that time, Ariel didn't even think that she would win this competition so stupidly. But from these thoughts, the lady was distracted by potential customers who asked when the perfume would go on sale. Ariel said that the soonest thing is that they can buy the perfume next week, as well as she will hand over a sample to everyone present today in a special order. Cedric, approaching the perfumer, thanked her for creating a perfume especially for him. But suddenly, the Duke thought about how Lady Winston saw him as a person. The investor congratulated the lady on her victory and smiled sweetly, trying to support Ariel. A week later, the girl continued to sell her products, studying and developing. Rena said that after the girl visited the ball, they had a noticeable increase in the number of men among the buyers. To which Ariel said that in the future, it is better to create more neutral fragrances, and moreover, the model of the perfume is also important. The guys saw that their rivals had indeed fulfilled their promise and closed their shop. The maid gave her a newspaper, where it was written that the perfume sorceress at the evening ball in honor of St. Catherine's Day had an impromptu perfume competition where she created the fragrance of Duke Cedric and part-time to her ex. It was also said that through this competition, the truth about the fifth prince's allergy to grapefruit was revealed. Ariel reported that they annoyed her with their presence, but for some reason, along with relief, she also feels sadness. But suddenly, from reading the newspaper, Ariel distracted the people by recognizing her because she made magic spirits. They started shouting that Mrs. Winston had to visit their store at tonight's festival. The girls were bombarded with papers and newspapers with invitations, to which she did not even understand what had just happened. Today, the streets are crowded with people, because this is the day. Rena said that today is an early summer festival. Ariel thought about it, trying to remember how this holiday was celebrated in the original story. In the original, in honor of the celebration of the beginning of summer, a large-scale festival was held on the streets. At the same time, it was the day when the main character first staged tyranny. But Ariel reassured herself that this event was still 3 years away. Rena asked if Ariel was interested, but if Ariel was similar, to which the perfumer realized that Rena was just the age when festivals aroused interest, to which she asked the maid to go. Ariel announced that there would hardly be many visitors today, so she would take it herself. But the maid began to persuade Ariel to go with them because there is a famous tarot cafe and you can go there. Rena literally began to cry from the realization that she would have to spend time without a lady. It was very beautiful at the festival. There were a lot of children and parents who tried to make them happy. The maid also decided to behave like a child and asked to buy her 1 ball. They went to the same cafe where Rena's famous fortune teller was sitting, but suddenly they were abruptly informed that they were already closed. To this, Ariel tried to say that she could pay extra. In an instant, the fortune teller saw Lady Winston standing in front of her, saying that she had no idea how much she liked the perfume she had bought at that time, and as a special exception, she would serve them for free. Rena went first, asking to find out luck in love, to which the girl made a spread. She said that her love is much closer than she thinks. She showed a map of lovers, as well as a map of a traveler going on adventures. Ariel quickly deduced that the maid was behaving as she should be at her age. The girl turned to the mistress, offering to tell her fortunes. The girl began to convince the lady that her predictions were very accurate, because even everything that happened in childhood coincided. The perfumer was finished off by the fact that the fortune teller said that she would not take the money, and this was her sincere desire. But suddenly, a death card fell out, to which the fortune teller asked to draw another one. All 3 cards meant hell and a painful death. Ariel smiled nervously, realizing that all the cards meant death. Although they have not yet met, her fate is already destined for death. The girl said that it was not very encouraging, but it could not be said that he was already dead. Even if her love is alive, he can barely hold on to life. The lady asked to predict Ariel for today's luck. Today, in a place crowded with people, she should go to a place where there is more red, and there, you can meet a noble person. And also, this is probably her predicted fate. This person has a powerful power of presence, and they accidentally bump into each other. The knight also wanted to calm the lady, saying that medicine did not stand still, and her future lover would quickly get back on his feet. And Rena said that Winston already has a lot of worries, and there is no need to meet with such a person and complicate her life. At the festival, the guys met Raphael. He approached Lady Ariel and greeted her, but suddenly she noticed that he was dressed in a red, crowded place. She asked if he was sick with something. The girl concluded that he was too young and healthy for her lover. The guy suddenly said that she was gorgeous at the last ball and he really liked that perfume. The girl said that Raphael was exaggerating. To which the boy asked if the lady plans to stay late, if he can take care of her safety. To this, Ariel said that she already had a guard. But the girl offered to keep her company, not as a guard. Raphael said that he would give them a great tour because he knew every corner of this street here. The children wanted to play, or rather, hit the balls with a dart to win a gift. Ariel played this game perfectly because she was very accurate. It was the knight's turn, to which Ariel said that he would not be able to break her record. He took javelins under each finger and stood in a fighting stance. He won in an instant, breaking absolutely every ball. The knight said that he had just practiced a lot, and he hadn't been taught it at all. Ariel began to praise Ern, to which Raphael became angry and jealous. Raphael tried to draw attention to himself, saying that they were selling delicious chicken kebabs with cheese around the corner, and also invited her to take a look. Rena was also very fond of chicken kebabs, so Ariel considered it lucky. But suddenly the girl did not see Rena next to her. The girl was in the forest and was trying to get her ball, which was entangled in a tree. But suddenly, someone gave her a thread, to which she was horrified. A hooded man stood in front of her, with red bags under his eyes and a dead look. Meanwhile, the guys decided to split up and search because she could not go far. Ariel thanked everyone and asked to meet at this place in an hour. The girl began to shout to Rena and look for her throughout the festival. But suddenly, her eyes fell on the blonde man who was eating noodles. She wanted to ask why he was so ridiculously dressed, to which he covered her mouth with his hand. He led her into a corner, holding her carefully. But Ariel was not a mistake either, so she bit the prince's hand. He shouted that His Highness should be in the castle, and then he explained that because of her, his mother forbade him to leave the palace, and he was here secretly. In any case, he asked me to pretend that she hadn't seen him here. The girl said that it was a waste of time, and she was forced to leave, but he did not let her go. The girl turned to him and asked what else he needed, but the prince asked if she had come to the feast alone. The man said that he was not used to the village of commoners, and he needed a guide, to which Ariel said that he had a lot of money and could hire anyone. The prince grabbed the lady's hand, saying that this was not the point. The man said that he had no one to have fun with. Fanta said that she did not need such an investor and terminated the contract. In the newspapers, everyone makes fun of him and he's all alone. Ariel said that she was looking for someone, and if he helped, they could have fun together. The girl described Rena completely, to which he asked if he was talking about servants. The prince announced that it was worth mentioning his outstanding memory, and he saw how not long ago she walked towards the forest. The lady found a bracelet on the ground that belonged to Rena. She began to think that something serious could have happened, to which the man said that there was a magic tower in the vicinity and no one could recklessly cause trouble. But suddenly Ariel smelled a familiar aroma. It was the perfume that Rena usually uses. The girl began to run to the side, trying to find her maid, but suddenly stumbled. She was caught by the prince, grabbing the girl right by the waist. Ariel looked at him in embarrassment. The man abruptly dropped the girl, saying that she was too heavy. Ariel was very angry with him. She told him that it was time for the prince to go, and she thought she could do it alone. Still, he went after her, saying that he wanted to help. The perfumer trusted her nose, trying to find Rena, and so the girl was standing alone in the forest when she saw the lady. She ran up to the lady, tears in her eyes. She asked if she had been injured anywhere. The girl said that she was perfectly fine because she was saved by the Duke. Cedric appeared from under the bushes, holding out his hand to Milady. He said that the child was safe and sound, and Ariel did not have to worry. Noticing traces of blood, the man wondered if anyone had been injured. The girl thanked the Duke because she was very worried that something had happened to Rena. To this, the man only smiled, saying that he was not worth any gratitude. The blonde man tried to beg praise for himself when suddenly Cedric asked what he was doing here. He replied that Lady Ariel had begged and that he had only helped her. The man smiled, saying that they were now friends. But embittered at the blonde, Cedric said that he could not just let go of his crimes and began to roll up his sleeves. To this, he only said that the Duke could attack because he was challenging him. Ariel stopped their fight, saying that Rena was very scared and they could fight later. The Duke apologized for his behavior and said that he would ask Ern to escort them home. The perfumer asked the girl to return to the store and have a good rest because today is a day off anyway. And Ariel, the Duke, invited for a personal conversation. They came to dinner and the perfumer asked what was so serious Cedric wanted to talk. The man asked if the girl goes on business trips. The man said that he would like her to accompany him to one place. He explained himself a little more clearly, suggesting that we keep him company. They must go to the divine city located on the border of the Beller Empire. But to get there, it will take half a month without stopping, and you will have to go on horseback. Ariel apologized, asking if there was a reason why she was the one who should accompany the man on such a long journey, since she could make a supply of Onyxia's perfume for him on the road. The man said that one fragrance was no longer enough, to which the lady wondered if their effect had weakened. Cedric said that the effect of the fragrance is enhanced only when the girl is next to him. To this, she said that this fragrance does not have conditions in the form of the obligatory presence of someone. But the Duke said this from experience, because the difference in effect between when a girl is next to and when she is not is simply amazing. The girl said that she would not be able to fulfill this request because she could not leave the store for a long time. Also, the lady stated that Cedric was deluded. Since she supplied the fragrance, he mistakenly thought that she was the key to solving the problem, and this was something of a distorted association. In this case, the man ordered to forget about the previous request and come to the ball next month as his companion. Ariel began to wonder what was the reason for such a request. The Duke explained that with his narrow circle of friends, it would not be so easy to find a companion. The girl considered it nonsense, because someone like Cedric would be very popular, and if he announced the search for a partner in the square, a whole crowd of people would flood in. The perfumer thought that if she appeared at the ball as his companion, then scandals would no longer be avoided. But on the other hand, this will have a very good effect in the perfume business, because the previous new product was a resounding success. Without hesitation, Ariel accepted the Duke's invitation. The lady returned to the store and was greeted by Rena and Ern, saying that they were only waiting for her. She wondered if anything serious had happened. Ariel said that next time it would be better to look after her, to which the maid only apologized. The girl remembered that she had seen horrible things: blood, Cedric killing a crowd of knights in front of her. At that moment, the man realized that even Rena did not have the aroma of onyxia that could help him quench his thirst for blood. He was wounded but forbade the girl to approach him because now he is very dangerous. Cedric asked Rena to keep it a secret from Lady Winston. After all, otherwise it may be in danger. Rena said that she was perfectly fine and apologized for causing the inconvenience. The perfumer asked the girl to rest for a few days. Cedric informed Guy that the Information Guild, which had disappeared 16 years ago, had returned again. They seemed to be related to the Duke's insanity. The man ordered Cedric to investigate further. Guy said that he was the best informant, so Cedric could trust him with everything. The man understood that with luck, he could get rid of this madness once and for all. Ariel concluded that due to the fact that it is summer, it would be a good idea to prepare a new product that represents this time of year. It was very important that the product allowed you to feel the season. Rena immediately suggested an association with the sea. Come to think of it, Ariel hadn't seen any of the marine flavors in the original diary, and it seemed difficult to get in this world. Suddenly, a guy came into the room saying that he had been sent by Countess Gilbed. He gave her a gift that contained a rare herb, and Jaina decided to give it to the shop, taking it away from the guildmaster they were making a deal with, and also asked Ariel to use it wisely. Everyone who was there felt such an aroma for the first time. The smell was fresh and invigorating, like a morning breeze, like a salty sea breeze touching the tip of his nose. We can say that this fragrance embodies the romance of youth. But suddenly, His Highness also came to the store saying that she had promised to spend time with him and she had to keep her promise. He even made a special date itinerary to make her feel burdened. The girl wanted to refuse him because she had a lot of work, to which the man drooped, calling her a liar. The lady offered a compromise, or rather to have fun creating a perfume. He said that it did not look like fun. Ern handed the same herb to the prince, saying that it should be ground immediately. The fact is that little is known about Trey's herb. It has never been used as a component for perfume, so Ariel wanted to try different extraction methods. According to research, members of the royal family of the Western state used this herb to save heat. But its refreshing marine aroma can have other properties, and also it had an unusual blue color. The girl decided to try to use the right herb as the main note. When he tried to spray the perfume, they smelled the fresh and invigorating smell of fruit, the smell of a salty sea breeze and fresh grass, and also a barely noticeable clean and invigorating smell of the sea, leaving behind a soft trail. The lady realized that the mysterious secret of the aroma of Trey's herb is that it can invigorate. The perfume will sell very well if it is launched in the summer, and no one but Ariel will be able to make it. Now, it remains to think about the bottle and the name of the perfume. At this time, Fanta was bursting with anger. The girl swore that she would get out of this hole and become more popular, more successful than anyone. But suddenly, she was enveloped in blue-purple smoke. Fanta fell sharply, losing consciousness. A girl entered the room smiling slyly. Ariel gave out delicious treats for the girls. She said that she had developed a new fragrance, inviting them to test it. Suddenly, a blonde woman appeared, saying that she had accidentally overheard their conversation. The girl asked to tell her when it would go on sale, because she wanted to buy it first. But the lady said that she could not yet decide on the date, but she would definitely help her try the product on her next visit. The blonde said that she always uses her perfume with pleasure, and everyone in the salon also uses only it. The children noticed that Mrs. Ariel was becoming more and more popular. Lately, they talk about her more often, and there are many more guests like that lady. And the store is slowly becoming busier at this rate. You will have to move to a larger store. The girl decided that the neighboring store was just empty for repair work on expansion. A man approached Ariel and handed her an envelope saying that Evans had asked for the decree. In the envelope, there was just an invitation to the Imperial Ball. Ariel immediately remembered that Cedric had asked to be his mate at the Emperor's Ball next month. The children began to admire, saying that this is the largest celebration of the year. Only a narrow circle of aristocrats who have received an invitation can participate in it. Surprisingly, it wasn't even mentioned in the original, and it seemed to be a much more important event than she expected. The girls asked to go and tell how fun it was there, because it would be very interesting for them. Out of nowhere, there were many men who would be honored if Ariel went with them to the ball. The girl sighed and, asking for forgiveness, said that she already had a partner. Ariel was so delighted to announce that her companion was Duke Evans. They said anyway that if Cedric decided not to come, the lady could always contact them. The perfumer concluded that there was a noticeable increase in business, but as they say, dreams should be large-scale. The day of the Imperial Ball came, and Ariel began to cook in 6 hands. All the servants praised Ariel, saying that she was more beautiful every day, but she was sure that Earl Winston had threatened to treat her well. The father was shocked, and at the same time furious that his daughter was invited to the Imperial Ball. He said that in order to hook the Imperial family, it must be perfect from head to toe. The maids began to choose a dress for her, but most of the outfits were outdated. The girl began to choose jewelry, choosing a necklace with a stone that resembled Cedric's eyes. In an instant, there was a knock at the lady's door, saying that Duke Evans was already waiting for her. The Duke suggested that the lady should ride together in a carriage. Ariel suddenly realized that she could easily fall in love with the investor, given that his appearance matched the main character. The pale-faced woman began to ask how Evans was feeling, because after all, she could be called Cedric's doctor. Ariel can safely be called his doctor because she pacified his madness, as no doctor and priest of the Empire could. He asked who she was, if not a doctor, to which he received the answer that the girl was a perfumer. The man took the lady by the arm and led her into the ballroom. Everyone immediately began to discuss the couple, saying that they did not believe that they had an exclusively business relationship. Cedric suddenly asked if the lady had changed her perfume. The fact is that this fragrance was incredibly fascinating. It retained the glitter of the iridescent waves and the calmness of the sea. The Duke was surprised that Ariel was so beautiful. It turned out to express these feelings with the help of a fragrance. The man began to tell the lady about a magical island where the sandy shore turns pink. The Duke, supposing that the girl might like it, offered to go there in the summer. Finally, an elderly woman appeared at the ball with a fan in her hands. This woman was the Empress of their country. Suddenly, the girl thought that the Empress has the greatest power in the country, and this is the best chance to advertise her perfume. The woman thanked Evans for accepting her invitation because she is glad to see him after a long time. The Empress glanced at Ariel, asking if she was his companion. The Duke introduced her, to which the woman stated that Cedric had brought a companion for the first time, and it was clearly stated that without a partner entry was forbidden. The woman suddenly noticed that a very pleasant aroma was emanating from Lady Winston. She concluded that it was similar to the aroma of grass received as a gift from a neighboring kingdom. Ariel confirmed the woman's words, saying that the new perfume was created based on the herb tray. This fragrance has not yet gone on sale, but the girl had a bottle. The Empress tried it, saying that it was amazing, but the suffocating air was suddenly filled with a feeling of cheerfulness. Compared to Trey's grass, it was deeper and more elegant. The perfume will definitely gain popularity, since the Empress herself praised it. But suddenly Her Majesty was distracted by informing her that Minister Rowell was looking for an urgent meeting. She asked Evans to accompany Her Highness for a while. The aristocrats immediately pounced on the perfumer, asking him to use the same fragrance. Ariel immediately concluded that her business was a good success today. The girl was just about to lie down and rest when the 5th prince appeared nearby. Kian said that his mother liked the fragrance very much. Ariel smiled, saying that the man did not help her much, but still helped her, to which he said that she even smiled beautifully. And it was at that moment that the Duke appeared in front of them. He menacingly stated that if the prince did not find a partner, then there was no need to covet his companion. To this, the blonde man stated that they just chatted a little. The prince hastened to remind Cedric that he and Winston were only business partners. Being disgraced, the man took Ariel by the hand and took her aside. She asked the Duke to let go of her hand because he was squeezing it too hard. Evans wondered why the lady continued to communicate with this scoundrel. Ariel said that contacting him could help the business if he was from the imperial family. The Duke began to ask if she was interested in this boy only in terms of business or if she liked him. Cedric frowned, declaring that he was superior to him in blood ties. She understood that they were enemies, but did not think that they were so much. The Duke declared that when trouble occurred, it was best to get some fresh air. The man brought the girl to the greenhouse of the imperial palace. Ariel suddenly realized that Cedric was the blonde's uncle. Suddenly, the lady saw a rare herb, the aroma of which resembled mint and mustard at the same time. She sighed because she did not take the diary she needed with her. Cedric concluded that Ariel liked it very much here. The Duke invited the lady to stay here a little longer because he would like to spend time together. To which she, saying that the view was too beautiful here, agreed. The lady said that she would like to come here again, to which Evans replied that any time she wished. The Duke has an urgent matter and will not be able to accompany Ariel, so he is forced to leave. Meanwhile, the prince concluded that Ariel was a weak point for the Duke, since he was so angry at the ball. In an instant, he wondered why his mood had suddenly deteriorated. At the ball, the first and third princes were introduced. The first prince was Louis, a handsome blonde man, and the second, Pierre, who looked exactly the same. Their appearance shone even brighter than before. The brothers immediately pestered the blonde, saying that he should say hello. The man did not understand why he was here if he had to be abroad to study. Another brother said that the youngest of them was very vulnerable. But suddenly they showed very unpleasant news, or rather a newspaper, where the prince was disgraced. The man asked his brothers to get out as soon as possible. Suddenly, the mother of a beautiful family appeared and everyone began to ask how she was. The Empress asked how their trip went. The gentleman stated that during this time, he had crossed the eastern continent and mastered various martial arts. But Mother said that Kian had not done anything stupid, and that was good. The youngest was asked not to go to the family dinner if he did not want to embarrass himself again. Ariel walked over to His Highness, asking why he was alone. But suddenly, the lady saw that the man was crying. The lady said that it was very cruel, because she is sure that there were many more cakes. Kian said he didn't understand why people didn't like him and looked down on him if he tried, but things went awry. Ariel said that the prince himself voiced the cause of his problem. The girl said that it was because he did everything to be good in the eyes of others. The perfumer said that if he wants everything to get better, then he needs to act for himself and do what he likes. The prince suddenly realized that even after what he was doing, she still didn't hate him. Then Kian said that he liked Lady Winston. But the friends did not even suspect that they were being photographed from under the corner. Soon, these photos began to be published in the newspapers and Cedric saw it. Early in the morning, Rena handed the mistress a newspaper with those photos. A month later, next to Ariel's shop, there was a new elephant, Magnus. The man invited people, saying that in honor of the first day of opening, all goods are at a quarter of the price. Everyone understood that it was many times cheaper than Ariel's perfume, and it seemed that Magnus was full of determination. Winston did not have any buyers, to which Ariel offered Rena to rest. To this, she said that they were not there just now, and in a couple of minutes they would already run in. Even if people came to them, they heard about a quarter of the price and immediately went in the other direction, or rather, to another salon. The strange thing was that Kian stopped sponsoring and she definitely closed the store, and it was impossible to open it. Most likely Fanta has a new, more successful investor. Ariel asked Ern to fulfill one of her requests. The lady again compared the fragrances and realized that Fanta's perfume was completely copied from her. The girl concluded that if they continued to sell similar perfumes at such an unimaginable price, then they could go bankrupt. Suddenly, Magnus herself came to the store, saying that they had a small room. Ariel said that Fanta would not be able to profit from plagiarism forever. She also added that she did not know what kind of investor the girl received this time, but she would disgrace herself again. To this, the lady said that this time she would definitely wipe Ariel off the street. Looking at the papers, the red man said that they no longer had to worry about money management. The man wondered what they should do with Evans because he seemed to have already begun an investigation. The chief said that instead of acting recklessly, it was necessary to hit the weak points. The main character agreed, saying that she was only waiting for his order. Ariel headed to the Merchant Guild. The girl thought that perhaps Mrs. Jane could help her. The woman smiled and asked what fate Lady Winston had to do here. She stated that she had found a great use for Trey's herb by bringing a gift as a perfume. Jane had heard a lot about them, but she didn't think she would experience them. Anyway, the woman needed this perfume because of its effect. She said that she only had to ask and she would get Trey's herbs at any time. The head of the guild guessed that if Ariel arrived before lunch, then something urgent must be done. The lady went straight to the point because she heard that the guild was going to visit the kingdom of Monarch, and she just needed a unique product from Selah. The girl just needed iris dye. Although the dye gives an amazingly beautiful color, it is very expensive in the Empire due to limited supplies. Ariel reported the exact amount of the product. Jane was extremely surprised that the lady needed 50 million pieces, and also asked if she wanted Jane herself to invest. The lady said that she would make sure that all 50 million would be sold out. To this, Jane said that this proposal is like snow on the head. The perfumer explained that she plans to win at the Spring Festival, which will determine the color of this year. If she wins, she will become the Queen of May, and interest in iris dye will also increase. Also, she said that she takes all responsibility. The woman announced that Ariel thinks very deeply for her age. Even the butler said that it would not bring more losses, because if the guests' plan turned into foam, it would always be possible to sell the leftovers on the territory of the continent. But there is only one problem. To get this iris, you need to cross one bridge, otherwise you will have to circle around the kingdom of Monarch. It is strictly guarded, so you need to apply for travel in advance. The butler said that usually it was possible to pay extra and permission would be given, even if the deadlines were missed. But after the owner of the city changed, it became much more difficult. As it turned out, Cedric Evans was the new owner, and not that he did not take bribes, it was too difficult to get in touch with him. Ariel said that she would solve this issue on her own. Come to think of it, after that moment, there was no chance to meet in person, and she only delivered the perfume to Onyxia, and that was it. Ariel immediately realized that it was a scandalous article about her and the Fifth Prince. The lady decided that it was worth talking to him about it and, stopping, asked Ern to buy at least a gift. When Winston arrived, all the servants immediately began to bow to her and greet her in a large chorus. The girl was promised to provide a special first-class service, which is why she chose just a lovely outfit in red shades. The man said that all the outfits suit the lady and he is sure that Duke Evans will also like it very much. But then, the perfumer remembered that she had come for a gift for Sir Evans and announced it. But he did not even ask who needed to pick up a gift and got to work, and the girl thought about how well they treat customers here. He gave her several options, asking what she liked, to which she realized that such jewelry did not pull for a symbolic gift, and these brats decided to shake all the money out of the lady. Ariel smiled politely and said that this was not what she was looking for. The owner of the store apologized and asked what product she was interested in, saying that they would not disappoint her anymore. But the man was shocked when it turned out that Ariel wanted to pick up something like a basket of fruit. But, immediately changing her mind, the perfumer asked for a bottle of wine. A lady was brought a book with various wines, but she chose the cheapest. Ariel noticed that there was only one product standing apart from everything, and when she came closer, she saw a necklace that was so expensive that it cost separately. She immediately realized that by wearing it to the Spring Festival, she would be able to create an amazing harmony. But the perfumer was quickly upset, saying that this product is not for sale, it is only on display. When asked when the exhibition would end, she was told that the exact dates were not known, and she could be included in the list of names for pre-order. It was interesting to see if the exhibition would end before the Spring Festival began, because it was so beautiful that Ariel wanted to get it. Leaving the store, the girl saw an inscription where the name of the owner of the store was indicated, but it seemed familiar to her. To this, Ern replied that it was one of the middle names of the owner. As it turns out, Cedric's full name is Cedric Rayner Richard Evans. But if Ariel had only known, she would never have bought a gift for the Duke here. The girl even understood why Cedric was constantly mentioned. When Ariel arrived at the Duke's office, his advisor awkwardly asked him to wait a little longer. The girl began to think that the man simply did not have time, when suddenly he himself came out to her. The lady wanted to apologize for the unexpected visit, as she noticed that the Duke was always looking for physical contact with her. He had a pillow mark on his cheek, and the girl concluded that she had disturbed his daytime sleep. The man asked what brought the lady here because she never looked for a meeting first, to which he received the answer that Ariel needed help. She said that she had heard that His Highness ruled the walled city. To make it more convincing, she pronounced Cedric's full name and asked to be allowed to cross the bridge. The Duke was left perplexed because he thought that Ariel wanted to export perfume to Selah, but the girl explained that she urgently needed to get something during this month, but the merchant said that without a pass, she would return to the bridge empty-handed. And if he gives permission, it will help the matter a lot. It will also make it possible to correct the situation with the current decline. Ariel was very stubborn and preferred to solve the problem with the loss on her own. The man said he was confident in the magnificence of the plan, and he would order the Merchant Guild to be listed as a merchant allowed to enter this month. The lady thanked the investor and said that she would write a detailed report on the result of her brilliant plan. Suddenly, Cedric asked if the lady had thought about marriage, which shocked Ariel. She asked why such a question suddenly, and he replied that he had seen in the newspaper that the lady had become friends with Beller for the purpose of marriage. Ariel explained that these were just absurd rumors and that His Highness the Prince had only confessed to her without permission. Hearing these words, the man arrived in a huge rage, calling the prince a cursed boy. Be that as it may, Evans admitted that he was sincerely glad that this was a baseless rumor. Evans again reported that before Lady Winston arrived, he had a dizziness and fever, but nothing hurt next to her, to which Ariel stated that he was making it up. She got up from the sofa and leaned over in front of the investor, measuring his temperature with her hand. She looked away and said that Cedric still had a fever. The man, taking her by the hand, forcibly pulled her to him so that the girl was much closer. The lady glanced at him and was about to say something when they were interrupted by the laughter of the counselor. Ariel pushed the man away from her and handed him a gift. After that, Ariel, full of embarrassment and misunderstanding, quickly left the room. At this time, the fifth prince was diligently sketching Lady Ariel on the canvas, whispering that he missed her. His sketches were really beautiful, with straight lines. Kian even began to cry, realizing that he should not have confessed his love to Ariel. The man's older sister saw this, thinking that she would not forgive Ariel for making him even more of an idiot. A new fragrance appeared in Ariel's room, and Rena finally smelled the smell of iris. It was the first time Rena had felt such an exquisite aroma. The girl proudly stated that the lady would definitely win the spring festival. The maid gave the girl a suitcase, saying that an order had arrived, but Ariel did not order anything. Opening it, the perfumer was shocked because she saw the same necklace. From the handwriting in the enclosed note, Ariel knew that Cedric had sent it to her. The girls discussed the fact that this time a new face would arrive instead of Charlotte, but suddenly they saw that Ariel Winston had arrived at the festival, the one who had been called a girl with a terrible temperament. Because of the luxurious appearance of the lady, all the girls said that they were very happy to meet them. An unusual floral aroma emanated from the perfumer. The girl friendly invited the aristocrats to try her new perfume. This perfume was made from irises and emanated an exquisite fragrance that would subtly reveal the noble charm of its wearer. Everyone liked the new fragrance, and of course the girls began to ask where and how they could buy the latest perfume. Suddenly, Princess Lena appeared at the ball. The girl began to talk about the fact that the lady immediately showed the audacity of a newcomer, or rather she behaved too frankly. The princess immediately stated that it would be impossible to become the Queen of May because the color of her dress was too expensive to make it trendy. The perfumer bowed and thanked the blonde for her lesson, for the princess was indeed generous, as she had heard. Ariel said that she had heard the unique news that the Merchant Guild had visited the port of Selah this time, and it is famous for its unique goods. The girl said that soon the guild would announce that it had purchased iris dye in bulk. Since few merchants would dare to bring iris from afar, purple blue was an extremely expensive color. Ariel explained that the reason for the high price was not the rarity of the toffee, but rather supply issues. The lady was discouraged because a large delivery happened very suddenly. The girl said that they brought plenty of colors, so she decided to cover herself from head to toe with a purple hue. The aristocrats immediately realized that if Countess Hilbert personally said so, then there were really a lot of goods. The princess immediately announced that the countess had done a stupid thing because the purple-blue color symbolizes death. At this, Ariel batted her eyes in surprise, saying that in the language of flowers, iris means good luck. The lady giggled, saying that the world of flowers is amazing because the flower denoting good luck has such an opposite meaning. But the princess did not want to give up either, so she smiled and reminded Ariel of the rumors that she was friends with her older brother. The girl sighed, reassuring herself that a couple of gossip could help advertising. The perfumer announced that she had met with His Highness a couple of times, but they did not have the same relationship as they wrote in the newspapers. Lena suddenly told Ariel to be much more careful because the imperial family was too big a prey for her. When Her Highness left, everyone immediately began to praise the girl for the color of her dress, asking her to try some more perfume. Suddenly, another girl appeared in the ballroom who asked to try a little fragrance as well. Ariel immediately remembered that this woman was the true protagonist of the original, whose name was Lena. She was dumbfounded because there was still a lot of time before the appearance of the main character, and there was no mention of her participation in the spring festival. Lena smiled and complimented the perfumer, calling her a genius. The girl began to get acquainted with everyone, and Winston could not understand why she appeared so early. The lady said that she had to go away and, wishing her a good evening, left the hall. The girl wanted to be alone to think everything over, because Lena, according to the storyline, should be connected with the main character, Cedric. She knew that she and the Duke were close because of business, but they were destined to drift apart someday. Winston did not understand why she suddenly lost her mood because of this. The main character's thoughts were interrupted by the main character, who asked what Ariel was doing here alone. The lady explained that she had decided to take a little break. Lena came to her to inform her that the voting had already begun and offered to vote together. The perfumer clearly decided that she should not worry about it now and need to concentrate on winning. Voting began, and Ariel Winston was chosen as the first contender. The second was chosen by Lady Winbell. The woman announced that adhering to the concept of the iris, Lady Ariel presented an unusual and stunning outfit. Those present said that Lady Winston seems to have a unique feature, and she surpasses even the participants of previous years. But Lady Winbell attracted the attention of the other participants with the charm of pure beauty, which cannot be found in the Empire. Lena said that it was a great honor for her to share the place of the contender with the perfumer. One aristocrat approached the girl and said that Lady Winston should be offended because due to the fact that men were forbidden to enter, she had not been able to bring the Duke as a partner. Ariel smiled feignedly and said that if the Duke had been here, he would have rigged the votes and led her to victory. She began to laugh and say that she was sorry that the Duke was born a man. A competitor approaching the perfumer asked her not to pay any attention because they behave like this because of anxiety. Ariel literally prayed because she wanted to become the Queen of May in order to destroy Magnus. It so happened that the first two votes were for Elena. The girls tried to support Lady Winston because there was not a single vote for her. But as it turned out, the votes for Ariel were accumulated from below, and there were a significant number of them. And so, with a wide margin of votes, Lady Ariel Winston served the victory. She was presented with a bouquet of flowers and put a crown on her head. The mistress was met by Ern, who immediately realized that she had carried out her plan. The girl realized that she should go directly to the contract. From that day on, everyone began to dress up in this unusual color because it was recognized as fashionable. Everyone began to ask why there was no perfume on sale before, to which Ariel replied that it was a very rare flower, and fortunately, she managed to buy a huge batch. The fact that Milady had become the Queen of May quickly spread throughout the Empire, and all the newspapers began to talk about this miraculous event. Thanks to this, the demand for iris dye has increased, and they have gone into a big plus. Absolutely everyone understood that with this, Ariel wiped Magnus's nose well. To congratulate Winston, the Duke brought the lady a cake to express his admiration. The girl also noticed that Cedric perfectly complimented her image by giving her that necklace. To this, the man only smiled and hurried to invite Winston to dinner, under the pretext that they had not seen each other for a long time. But the lady refused, saying that she was very busy today. And suddenly the fifth prince appeared, who also decided to invite the girl to eat with him. His Highness stated that he felt that it was Ariel who would become the Queen of May. He said that they hadn't hung out together for a long time and would like to spend this time together. But Evans, grabbing someone else's hand, instantly declared that he was talking nonsense and he should come to his senses. Kian suddenly said that he had come for a reason, but for a conversation. The man said that he wanted to make Ariel Mr. Kian's personal perfumer. He explained that last time he had behaved unwisely and could not see the precious diamond right in front of his nose. Evans hastened to interrupt the prince, saying that Winston was already his personal perfumer and he would not allow her to be taken away from him. Meanwhile, Rena noticed that Fanta had copied the perfume from them again. Even people understood this when they said that it was cheap, and Lady Ariel was much better. Hearing this, Magnus was in great shock and fury mixed with despair. The girl mocked her because the lady did not have a single buyer. She asked if she should take up help again. The girl handed her an intoxicating scent, with which Magnus could regain his popularity. With its help, people crowded like zombies at the entrance to Fanta's store. They began to fight outside to get in, almost breaking the windows and not knocking down the doors. Ariel prepared a good batch of goods and waited for customers. The girl thought that since she became the Queen of May, trade had gone even better than before, and at this rate she would have to expand the store. She even thought that it would be nice to open a second store and start exporting abroad. As they stepped outside, Rena, Ern, and Ariel saw the strange behavior of people who, as if hypnotized, were going to Magnus's store. They decided to observe and understand what was going on. Rena noticed that it looked like people were bewitched by something. Ariel told Rena to look after the store, and she would go inside and check what was going on. Inside, people, as if mad, held bottles in their hands and laughed hysterically. Seeing this, Winston was horrified because it looked not just strange but even creepy. The surprising thing was that not only were the customers out of their minds, but Magnus herself. The perfumer understood that if she suddenly did not do it alone, then someone could help her. Suddenly, the fifth Prince Kian himself walked into the same store. The man said that there was a tip on suspicion of using prohibited herbs on the territory of the Empire. The man ordered them to set up a magical barrier and sent a priest for treatment. He approached one of the ladies and, stretching out his hand, forced her to recover by the power of light, and Ariel asked what it was. To this, the prince said that the imperial family possessed divine power, and he was no exception. The man quickly realized that this was not enough because the effect of the intoxicating aroma was too strong. It is a chemical made from a poisonous herb that contains a drug. The prince pondered, because this herb is forbidden in the Empire. Ariel shared that, in her opinion, Magnus did not pull this off alone because she is also under the influence of the drug. Winston said that for the sake of interest, she can take a minute to help this. Lady Ariel developed an elixir for a number of addictions, as the prince asked her to do. The girl asked if the man had any suspicions about who could have done this. Kian replied that he could guess who it was, since it had happened 16 years ago. On that day, money laundering and smuggling were successfully completed. The girl said that Magnus had already played her role, and Beller would deal with her perfectly themselves. The man ordered the girl to try to carefully approach Lady Winston. Also, he clarified that only with her they can revive this place. Entering Fanta's strange shop again, the girl began to spray the elixir. He helped noticeably, and people came to their senses without understanding anything. Ariel, approaching Magnus, began to spray his perfume on her as well, thereby bringing her to her senses. She began to ask if the lady remembered anything. Fanta said that before leaving Beller, she took one last look at her shop. But then, suddenly, a strange smoke appeared and she fell to the ground. Ariel offered the girl to rest, saying that it was very good that she managed to return her to her usual state. The prince said that out of old friendship, he would say a word about Fanta in front of the imperial family, because she could be blamed. The lady thanked the guys and sincerely apologized for everything she had done. Also, she said that in the future she will help her with anything if it is in her power. Winston said that once or twice the girl would not get off. The investigation revealed that the Magnus Beauty Salon was used for money laundering. The perfumer asked if the Empire had been completely cleansed of the Kang Guild, but few people knew that the guild leader survived and escaped. 16 years had passed since they had been banished, and it seemed that all this time they had been gritting their teeth and building up their strength again. They have also established a new base, and the imperial family is now busy looking for them. It was the only gang in the best tradition of villains to appear in the original. Khan is the final boss. They are cruel and merciless, matching their status. The case of the kidnapping of the heir of Duke Evans 16 years ago. Cedric was expendable in the experiment of crossing a monster and a demonic creature, and as a side effect, Cedric fell into madness. Initially, Khan was supposed to appear on stage only 2 years later. But given many circumstances, the plot runs counter to the original. Ariel deduced that Cedric was in danger, based on the fact that Khan wasn't supposed to show up that soon. The girl stood up and said that it was time for her to go. She explained that she urgently needed to go somewhere, to which the man took her by the hand and said that it was dangerous and he would see her off. To this, Winston stated that she was not the one he was supposed to protect, nor was she small and would be able to pass on her own. The prince said that the lady was going to go to the Duke anyway, to which she did not understand what this had to do with him. The man said that he now understood for sure that the lady liked Mr. Evans. To this, the girl replied that this was not the case at all. The man smiled and accused the lady of lying, saying that her ears were red. After that, Ariel rudely waved away the other's hand and said that it was really time for her to leave. The girl went to the Duke, asking Rick if he was inside. The man wondered what had brought Lady Winston to that hour. But Ariel was thinking about something completely different, trying to understand how Cedric was feeling. The perfumer looked at the investor and asked him to talk in private. Ariel said that although it was late, this conversation was not insignificant. She wondered if the Duke had heard the news of the return of the Kang Information Guild. To this, the man menacingly asked where the lady got such information, but the girl immediately figured out that if he found out that Kian had told her about it, he would be very angry. Ariel said the organization had a bad reputation. The girl understood that among all Cedric's experiences, the atrocity of the Kang Guild was the most cruel. The consequence of the incident was not only madness, but also pain and fear from the kidnapping experienced in childhood. In the original, when the Khan returned, Cedric fell into a frenzy of anger. Evans wondered what had made the lady think so deeply. She said that everything was fine, but she herself thought that maybe everything was all right now, but gradually Cedric's madness would increase. She understood that he needed her, the one who could cure his madness. That girl who was supposed to be with Evans was Lena. The lady realized that the presence of the main character was necessary for Cedric himself. The man asked if the lady wanted to say something to him. Ariel stated that she was his family doctor, and that he had to report to the family doctor about any details related to his health. Winston asked if he had been bothered by his rapid pulse lately. Cedric chuckled that Ariel was actually asking questions like his doctor. Evans said that he feels as usual. But he did not miss the opportunity to notice that the girl cares about him. The perfumer was always stopped by thoughts that whenever he would naturally meet the main character. Ariel was tormented by only one question, whether she could still be with him. Cedric offered to take the lady to the door of the store, but she refused, under the pretext that the store was very close. The man thought about the fact that the Kang had settled in underground sewers, and the fact that they set up a base in such a place indicates the resumption of their activities in the capital of the empire. Evans asked if anything had been found in a case from 16 years earlier. The Duke concluded that they had done a lot of dirt just to match their reputation. Just think, experiments on the human body. The man said that these experiments are the source of madness. In the process of crossing with a demonic entity, the blessing from baptism ceased to work. All this was because Cedric could not be cured even by divine power. The employee said that this is still only guesswork, but there is other information. Ariel Winston was able to be a prototype. If she was also a test subject, then this explains everything. The man realized that her abilities could appear as a result of this experience. There must be a clear reason why they targeted her. Suddenly, Cedric had an attack and began to breathe heavily. He fell to the floor and began to slowly lose consciousness. The man began to have memories of being kept in a cage with Ariel. But as soon as Evans remembered the perfumer, the pain immediately receded. Most likely, this is because she herself became like the aroma of Onyxia for him. In the Winston perfume salon, construction work did not begin with that. People were shocked that the perfume shop remained closed for the next 3 months. Winston herself explained that she plans to return with an expanded store, and until now she asks guests to wait. It was surprising, but it's been a year since they opened the store. The girl arrived at the palace saying that she would disturb them a little while construction work was going on in her shop. The maids began to discuss Ariel and the fact that she had recently taken the title of May Queen. They all discussed that the perfume created by her was very popular. Suddenly, Ariel's father burst in and greeted his daughter, saying that they had not seen each other for a long time. The man asked how the imperial ball went, to which she replied that Her Majesty the Empress appreciated her perfume very highly, unlike some. She said that she also won the Spring Festival, and now it is even difficult to cope with the flow of buyers. His Serene Highness the Duke of Evans has made additional investments in her salon. The father said that he was already tired of hearing the news that his daughter had taken the title of May Queen. The man stated that, as expected, his daughter is simply incredible, and he is very proud of her. The girl sat in her room and thought of a way to stop Kang. After all, who knows if they will do this again, and you need to be prepared just in case. Ariel concluded that she had to protect Cedric in the current situation. However, the lady did not know exactly when they would meet the main character. The perfumer came up with ideas to try to create different antidotes based on the information about the Kang Guild from the original. In an attempt to carry out these plans, the girl was subjected to many failures, as well as explosions and accidents on the desktop. When everything exploded for her again, Winston concluded that it was a complete failure. The lady thought that she could cope without divine power because the main thing was to have perfect knowledge of chemistry. Ariel fed Kial various desserts. It was obvious because only there she would be able to make it work. Suddenly, the girl began to ask the man about his divine power. He said that the older brothers were busy, so he had to figure it out. The lady thanked the guy for coming to the rescue, because without him, nothing would have been resolved. Also, the man hurried to apologize for dumping the confession on the lady. And then, he behaved terribly because of jealousy, for which he is very ashamed. But the girl had a huge request to the prince about that intoxicating aroma. She knew that it was because of the Kang Guild, and she wanted to be prepared in case of an emergency. To do this, Ariel needs his divine power. Kian said that the Imperial Palace also feared that things would turn out for the worse, and he would help in any way he could if it was in his power. The girl smiled and said that in this case, she would contact him soon. But the prince stopped the girl again, saying that he would help her if she created a perfume for him. The girl's father was discouraged when he saw that His Highness had come to his palace. The man explained that he had decided to come because Lady Winston would make him a perfume for an old friendship. The old man tried to shake the prince's hand, saying that his daughter was the best and most brilliant perfumer. The friends went to the laboratory, and the father was extremely happy that his daughter finally got close to the imperial family. Ariel said that the first thing to do was to outline the overall concept of a fragrance that Keanu likes. But the fifth prince was thinking about how to get closer to the lady, because now he had come to the place where she spent most of her time, which meant that she considered him a close person. Winston asked if the man had any favorite fragrances, but the latter, coming very close again, said that he liked the scent of Lady Ariel most of all. But this was just his fantasy, and Ariel offered him to try a few to choose from. As expected, the blonde has a clear preference. Also, the girl demanded an image that the man would like to embody with the help of a fragrance. He didn't think too much, but he wanted to look like the imperial family. In addition, soon there will be a ball in honor of the founding of the empire, and famous and influential people will gather at it. The prince said that he wanted to show everyone that he had changed enough, and the lady said that he could trust her. After all, she would make the best perfume that would suit His Highness. Cedric concluded that Van would use the founding day of the empire to take action. The man said that Erna could do it alone, but there was no guarantee. The counselor was surprised to learn that Evans wanted increased security for Lady Winston. Cedric declared that he would go to her either as a knight or as a guard. But Rick reminded His Highness that on the day of the founding of the empire, every hour was scheduled for 10 points. He did not understand how a man could so easily give up everything and start following Lady Winston. But the Duke replied that there are priorities in every case. For 3 days and 3 nights, the Imperial Palace opened its doors. Even the streets were crowded with the noise of the lavish festival. In other words, it's the grandest day of the year. Ariel could not miss such a scene. The image of the girl was predictably beautiful and skewed. At a wonderful festival, the perfumer met Lady Charlotte. She congratulated the girl on the title of May Queen because she must have used this perfume at the Spring Festival. Charlotte said that there is no equal to Iris perfume in the empire. In an instant, 2 handsome men approached the lady. They imagined one was called Zion and the other Zeph. It's not that Ariel planned to make friends with the sons of the aristocracy, but this perfume is more in line with women's preferences than men's. Charlotte said that she was glad to see the two of them and hoped they would have another chance to see each other. Zion smiled and offered to accompany the lady to today's celebration. Winston politely declined, saying that she wanted to spend time alone with Charlotte. The children immediately pounced on the guys, saying that their annoying proposals caused the lady inconvenience. They said that Mrs. Ariel didn't want to spend time with them and they should leave. Suddenly, a nice lady approached the lady, asking the name of today's perfume. She could not believe that Ariel had created this perfume herself. The girl was waiting for Ariel's store to reopen. To this, the lady said that the construction was almost finished and soon she would be able to visit her salon. But in an instant, Lady Winston's father showed up for the celebration. The entire aristocracy was gathered at the ball, and of course they could run into their father. He began to scold her for being immersed in her business. But the perfumer asked to talk when they changed the scenery. Stepping away, my father said that it was time for the protracted teenage period to end, and it was time to fulfill the duty of the heiress of the Earl of Winston. To this, Ariel apologized and said that she did not plan to get married. The man guessed that the girl did not leave the thoughts of Duke Evans, and that was why she did not want to get married so much. He said that if she waited, the Duke would pay no attention to her. Her father began to say that the Duke kept her close to him only to discourage annoying proposals for marriage. But suddenly Duke Evans, who was standing behind, heard it all. Ariel knew that if she and the Duke were seen again at the ball, everyone would start whispering. The girl said that her father should not worry about her marriage because she would still take responsibility and inherit the title of Count. She must be a young and stupid daughter in his eyes, but after all, she is the only heir to Winston County. The girl returned to Evans, asking what he had to do with her. Before all business, Cedric asked permission to invite the lady to dance. Everyone started gossiping, wondering if Winston and Evans had started dating again or not. Previously, His Highness did not show much attention to Ariel, but human feelings can change at any moment. In recent years, these two have always been together. You just have a free minute, and by the way, they are perfect for each other. The man told the lady to call him if she needed a partner. The girl thanked him for the proposal, but he would not be able to run to every ball to be her partner. But this was only a manifestation of politeness, like a gentleman. The imperial family and the Empress herself came to the ball, noticed that Ariel came again with Cedric as a partner. But the lady boldly stated that she and Evans had just recently bumped in. The woman announced that, to tell the truth, she wanted to consult Lady Winston. The Empress said that the change of season was coming soon, so it was necessary to prepare new flowers for the cage in the imperial garden. It was a great honor for Ariel that the Empress herself asked her about flowers. The perfumer said that irises are not so difficult to grow. Besides, their color is harmoniously combined with the national color of Beller. To be honest, until recently, the flower did not arouse the woman's interest. But recently, the princess is very partial to it. The Empress said that she often hears from her that she cannot believe that she is lost to some foreign flower. She thanked the lady for her advice and told the lady to wait for the next invitation. Winston decided that she needed to seize the moment and do business, or rather advertise her perfume. The man was drinking expensive wine when suddenly he ran into a blue-haired girl and spilled everything on the floor. The stranger asked for forgiveness because she was not yet used to such crowded places. The man asked if the lady was injured and also said that he would just take some more booze. Leon bowed and introduced herself to the Duke, informing him that she had only come to the Beller Empire a couple of months ago. Also, she said that she may be officially appearing in front of the palace very soon. Evans pondered, because he had not been told anything about the guest who had arrived from abroad. The investor smelled a very familiar and warm aroma from the girl. Ariel thought that doing business was hard, but she succeeded and received business cards even from the foreign aristocracy. Lately, everyone in the empire has been talking about Ariel. The man approached the lady and mentioned if she was the creator of the magic spirits. The perfumer realized that it was very good that she had come to the ball in honor of the founding of the empire, and maybe later it would be possible to advance abroad. A red-haired man approached the lady, smelling the aroma of toffee, and the girl began to advertise her product because it is becoming more and more popular every hour. But the stranger hit the bull's eye when he reported that the girl had mixed iris and geraniums. Ariel was amazed at the stranger's knowledge when he said that the pronounced aroma of geraniums neutralizes landswoot. He said that it was just an amazing decision, because landswoot is quite a magical herb. And just a little is enough to erase the smell of many herbs without a trace. The man said that he also liked the smell of that grass. He also noted that once you encounter it, it completely removes all other odors. Also, the stranger said that the herb has a peculiarity because it is the best component for creating datura. Suddenly, the perfumer realized that this man was related to Ariel in the original. She did not understand why he should tell her about dope. Ariel understood that dope was an obvious flag of death, so she shouldn't react in any way. Seeing Ariel's frightened face, the man waved it off, saying that he was just joking to get closer. The stranger said that he prefers the aromas of beautiful flowers rather than datura. He asked if the girl had been to the port city of Selah, because this is a place of extraordinary beauty, and now is just the peak of the blooming of the last spring flowers. The view should be simply amazing. The redhead said he could take the lady there to see the beautiful views. Realizing that the man was too close, Ariel was forced to refuse. The stranger insisted that it would be wonderful to talk about aromas in a place where it is very beautiful. The fifth prince stood up for the girl, ordering her to let go of the lady's hand. The man menacingly asked what he allowed himself in the sacred imperial palace. From his red hair, the prince immediately deduced that this stranger was from abroad. The man said that he came from Sendor, to which the blonde replied that it was strange, because the inhabitants of the place he happened to meet clearly have a special intonation of speech. To this he said that exceptions can be found everywhere. The foreign stranger got down on one knee and, kissing Winston's hand, said that he would wait for a new meeting with her. Kian asked Ariel if this often happened to her, to which she replied that such situations happen from time to time. The girl smiled, realizing that the prince had come out to help her. The perfumer smiled and said that surprisingly, His Highness was also capable of very good and cool deeds. The man also reported that his change of image was a success, and he has been using her perfume every day since he received it from Ariel. He announced with admiration that the views fixed on him had changed considerably. The blonde said that he began to feel that people liked him. They began to compliment him and smile enthusiastically. His mother even praised him for handling Magnus's case. Kian happily stated that thanks to Ariel Winston, he had finally become useful. The man smiled softly and stretched out his hand to the lady, inviting her to dance. Out of politeness, she agreed, and standing beside her began to waltz. The prince noticed that as they danced, their scents mixed. He said that he would be interested to smell what kind of aroma came out. He sniffed, saying that Ariel smelled delicious. The prince was curious and asked what Ariel thought of him. He asked if it felt different. A scent emanated from the man that was awe-inspiring. Ariel thought for a moment and didn't even notice how she crashed into the girl behind her. She fell down and, covering her face with her hand, began to cry quietly. But suddenly, the girl realized that right now she was literally lying on the fifth prince of the empire. He asked if the lady was hurt, as everyone around began to look only at them. This sight was noticed by the duke, realizing that the prince's confession was not an empty rumor, and he was going to marry her. Cedric abruptly asked to cancel tomorrow's meeting. Perhaps because of the day of its foundation, the festival is in full swing here. The city was too crowded. Ern asked if the girl was going to attend tonight's ball. To this, Ariel replied that she had something more important to do than the ball. In the center of the street, there was a crystal elephant that seemed to be alive. Ern said that if his scales were removed, they could be sold at a high price. The man hastened to explain that he periodically sheds his scales, and they are simply picked up. The price varied greatly, depending on the condition of the scales, but it was still expensive. In an instant, the lady ran into Cedric at the festival, who was worried, looking at her. The Duke immediately asked why Ariel was not at the ball, but walking around the city. When asked what made Cedric rush here from the palace, he replied that he wanted to have fun. Ariel saw a tent, or rather street gambling, which can only be seen on Foundation Day. The girl suggested that Cedric taste rainbow roulettes together. The investor borrowed the lady's food for a short time to test it for quality and safety. After making sure that there was a natural dye, he returned the roll to Ariel. Evans suggested that the lady had a day off, and sometimes it was necessary to spend the day idle. The perfumer agreed, but said that she had not come here to have fun. The girl came here for the sake of the open auction, which will begin right now. Ariel made the decision to keep it a secret why she had come here. But due to the many questions, the lady gave the Duke a hint: the sperm whale. He tried to guess what the perfumer wanted to buy. It seems that the beginning has come, and once it was clear that the goods were at an unimaginable price, the man offered to play a game, guess the final price of the product, and the one who guesses more wins. But the lady said that in such cases you need to play for something. Evans suggested that the loser should grant the winner's wish. Ariel agreed, except for something very expensive and something that would take a long time. The man asked what she understood was too difficult and would take a lot of time. Ariel replied that a mutual agreement would be enough. The girl was uncomfortable, but still she did not think that Cedric would make something incredible. The auction began. Someone gave 200,000 encores, someone as much as 1,000,000. The bronze statue was sold for 1,000,000 encores, despite its small size. It was strange, but Evans always won, and Ariel gave an inaccurate figure of the cost. Finally, it was time for the sperm whale, and the girl was very happy. The fact is that there was no ban on participation in the auction. The bargaining began with sperm whale fat. Someone gave 800, someone 1,000,000, someone even 1,200,000. The man asked what the lady was waiting for, to which she replied that it was too early to set her own price. But suddenly, at the end, all the byproducts were put up for auction, and the starting price was 5,000 encores. After thinking for a while that the contents of the byproducts include tendons, fat, and mustache, the girl offered an initial price. She came out of the auction happy because Ern was already taking out the boxes with the contents. The knight assumed that these things were much more valuable than they seemed. The world of the original is similar to the world in which Ariel lived. You can find an analog of most of the components necessary for a perfumer. But there is only one thing that cannot be replaced. It is the concrement of the sperm whale. This material is so valuable that it is called the treasure of the sea. If you complement it with a perfume, it will last much longer and acquire a deep and rich aroma. And Ariel managed to get such material on the cheap. Leaving the building, the girl looked up at the sky, seeing beautiful fireworks. As the crowd grew larger, the Duke suggested that the lady should go elsewhere. Cedric pinned the girl against the wall, saying that he was afraid that the crowd might drag her with them. Ariel wondered if the Duke was okay because he was behaving extremely strangely, but the man did not seem to listen to her, saying that this would not work and they had better go up to the roof. Cedric apologized in advance and abruptly lifted the perfumer in his arms to lead her out of the huge crowd. A couple of movements, and the couple found themselves on the roof, where the whole street was in full view. Evans suddenly filled Ariel with the fact that in a recent argument he had won. The girl smiled and said that since he won, then let him make a wish. The lady thought that Cedric would order 10 free bottles of healing perfume, but he, smiling out of the corner of his lips, made a wish to hug the perfumer for a short time. He stated that it would take 1 second and he would immediately let go. Ariel hastened to remind her that they had long since separated. Also, she said that if someone sees them, they will immediately push them to the wall. The girl decided that she needed to show that his judgment was wrong, so she agreed to a hug. The Duke held her close to him, hugging her tightly. The aroma of pine needles emanated from him, and she could not understand why the second lasted like an eternity. Cedric thanked the lady for fulfilling his extraordinary request. Apparently, Winston was tired because she slept late. Rena reminded that today is the day of the interview. The girl also said that Ariel called for the Duke in her dreams. Nothing serious had happened, but Ariel couldn't stop constantly replaying yesterday in her mind. As expected, Khan used the festival to send hitmen after Ariel. The man decided that in the future, in order for the lady to be safe, he would not step away from her. A guy named Lavi came to the interview. The girl asked, first of all, to tell about herself. He said that he loved perfume, so he graduated from the chemical faculty of the academy, taking second place in the class. And his main goal is to become the genius perfumer of the century, like Ariel Winston herself. The guy began to tell that he was very surprised when he smelled the very first perfumes, and he had never seen such a fresh and deep aroma of roses anywhere else. He said that her perfume was like a textbook for him. The girl said that she and her boyfriend had been selected, but Cedric was amazed that Ariel decided to recruit green youngsters with no work experience. But the lady objected, saying that work experience was not a mandatory item. She also announced that both candidates have sufficient skills. The lady also noted that among all the candidates, they showed the strongest zeal for perfume. Rena and Ern were very happy to have new colleagues. There were a few things needed for a new perfume store. Firstly, good workers and large places. And secondly, awareness of a perfume named Ariel Winston. And thirdly, a new perfume that will provide all the previous points. Ariel said that in order to develop a new product, she banned the door of the laboratory for a while. Half a month later, the day of the opening of Ariel's perfume store came. The lady told everyone that her new store was opening again. Everyone was interested in what changes awaited them. The new employees were very worried because this was their first job. The girl taught Rena and Erna to be mentors to those young guys. But suddenly, an investor appeared at the opening and handed the lady a gift. It was surprising because Ariel had not yet contacted him. The box contained Ario's crystals. The girl thanked the man for the gift, and the new employees began to wonder what kind of relationship she had with Evans. The fifth prince ordered a barrier to be erected around the store. When asked why this barrier was needed, the Chin's husband replied that it was protection. Ariel thanked the blonde man for worrying because it was very nice of him. The guys began to meet guests when the store finally opened. The service was very nice and courteous thanks to the new staff. And the perfumer concluded that with the increase in staff, it became much easier. But suddenly, one lady asked what the perfume used by Ariel herself was called. Ariel said that this is a novelty that went on sale from today and then offered to try. This perfume gave off a luxurious and sweet fragrance. Vanilla is woven into it, giving birth to a feeling of subtle sweetness, with jasmine filled with arousing beauty as a base. People will be able to enjoy the fragrance for a long time. The girl said that the aroma is very deep and mysterious. Then, Winston decided to tell that they contain a special ingredient, and it is the base note that ambergris complements. The customer was surprised that the fragrance would remain on her skin from morning until night. Rena made a report that half of the Aesthetics of Charm stock was already sold out. It was amazing that the most popular perfume was not even advertised. To this, Ariel said that Aisha was wrong because the perfume was being advertised even at this moment. The whole advertisement consisted of the fact that the girl sprinkled it before receiving guests. Thanks to the popularity that the title of May Queen brought her, the lady decided that there was no need for additional advertising. It was because Ariel Winston had already become an object of necessity herself. The girl could not even think that the reserves would run out so quickly. Despite being very busy, they achieved great results, and Ariel suggested that the three of them celebrate. Duke Evans came into the store and asked him to join in the fun. Cedric somehow found out the schedule again and came to close exactly. The man explained that after catching the aroma of today's perfume, he assumed that it was a new product. Cedric said that this fragrance is as seductive as it is beautiful. The knight and maid decided to leave the couple alone, under the pretext that they would bring more food. The girl noticed that he was not taking his eyes off her. Cedric deftly noticed that Ariel continued to avoid the man's gaze. Evans noticed that his eyes were fixed on only one person, but Ariel was shocked, to say the least, when she realized that Cedric liked Ariel. After that evening, the girl did not hesitate to fall asleep and believed that Cedric could like Ariel. Since her head was a complete mess, the girl decided to breathe fresh air. She understood that even if Evans liked Lady Winston, as long as he was involved with Lena, she would follow the original. But if suddenly the events deviate from the original plot, there is a chance that his fate will be connected with Ariel. In an instant, under her window, the lady saw the main character who was doing something here in the middle of the night. Lena apologized, saying that she did not even know that the working day was already over. As the lady still could not sleep, she offered the girl to drink tea. The lady was very ashamed, and she explained the late visit by the fact that in her area, everything works late. The visitor said that she had business with Lady Ariel. Ariel thought about the fact that the girl is very cute, but she does not even know that Ariel was originally going to kill her with poisonous perfume. As it was known, the perfumer accepts orders for production, and Ariel asked if Lena wanted to make an order. The girl said that the fragrance does not matter, but she really wants a magical perfume. To this, Winston apologized because she does not accept orders for magical perfume. After all, not only is there a high probability of failure, but a large deposit is needed, and if something goes wrong, Ariel must take full responsibility. But the blonde asked to listen to her circumstances and then make a decision. She told me that she was from Sendor and stayed in the Beller Empire for a short time. The reason for her being here is that she wants to be cured of an old disease of unknown origin. There was no treatment in other countries, and she had to go here. Here, Lena received the same answer and then learned about Ariel Winston, about the fact that she is a brilliant perfumer of the century, and she may be able to cure her disease. The perfumer said that she is not a magician, but only makes perfumes. The lady said she wouldn't care if they failed, but Ariel could help. The girl did not remember Elena's similar attitude in the original. She is the main character, and if you can help a person, then the lady is ready for it. The perfumer said that it is unlikely that it will be possible to completely cure the disease, but she may try to relieve the symptoms. The lady said that she would send her a deposit tomorrow, and in the meantime, she would say goodbye. Ariel began to think that all this, she fantasized to herself, because the original is unlikely to change. The girl approached the dungeon and promised that she would definitely get Theo out of there. The lady arrived at the only place in the empire where holy water flows. Ern said that people come here to be healed and cleansed, and the priests use this holy water for blessing. Ariel wanted to use holy water, and perhaps be able to create a perfume that would relieve Elena of her torment. But for holy water to have an effect, they need to be blessed, they just need to step up the road. Priests stood upstairs and blessed people. The goddess of fate, Selene, gave Ariel peace and tranquility. The priest said that the goddess would brighten her path and send an eternal blessing. But suddenly, the girl saw that the fifth prince was standing in the priest's place, who asked what she was doing there. He said that there was a shortage of manpower, and he was here to help because he possessed powerful divine power, even by the standards of the imperial family. And Winston said that she was here because she received an order and was going to make a perfume with a healing effect. But unfortunately, the removal of holy water from the territory is prohibited, but perhaps the girl would have succeeded with the presence of grass. The herb Celestine is a plant that contains divine power. If you soak it in water, reading a prayer, the water will become holy, but the grass cannot be obtained either. The man provided Ariel with some holy water, offering to develop a perfume right in the temple. The lady thanked His Highness, for she had brought all the ingredients with her just in case. It was amazing that the girl created a perfume so quickly and easily, but it took her a lot of time to research. Suddenly, Ariel saw Sasha and Eileen. The fact is that Sasha was not feeling well and wanted to receive a blessing from the priest. The perfumer said that she feels good here to create perfume. It is based on the pure aroma of lily of the valley, and she added holy water for a blessing effect. The girl handed the bottle to Sasha, spraying the product she had just made. The girl's fever immediately subsided, and it became easier to breathe. Winston was very happy that the effect was positive. The fifth prince was amazed. After all, he had never seen such an effect from a simple perfume before. Despite the fact that this is a perfume and the effect will last no longer than 3 to 4 hours, it will still be useful. The man had an idea and he proposed to create another perfume like this and distribute it to those in need. This will reduce the work of priests and may help those who have difficulty getting to church. Ariel promised that she would make as many healing perfumes as possible. The girl said that she mixed holy water with magical herbs, which has an analgesic effect. The composition also includes the flower of the lily of the valley, which gives a barely noticeable aroma. When the main character sprayed the elixir on herself, it became much easier for her to breathe. The girl explained that perfume will not be able to completely cure the lady of the disease, but it will sufficiently ease the suffering. Elena, taking Ariel's hands, said that when she returned to her native land, she would definitely advertise her perfume. The girl looked away and thought that with this, she would be able to save her brother. The girl came to the same cage, waking up her brother. He asked where she went, to which she replied that she had some business. Lena gave the guy the same perfume, saying that it would ease his suffering. She said that this anesthetic was created by the most brilliant perfumer of the empire. She asked him to use them every 4 hours, because she discreetly poured the perfume from the bottle and asked him to hide it well. Suddenly, a girl appeared asking what they were doing. Researcher Kana said that she entered without the knowledge of the head and the girl may be misbehaving. She took the perfume away from them, asking if it had any effect. The girl said that with this, it will become much easier to conduct experiments. The head ordered Phil to report if she noticed a strange reaction. In the evening, there will be an official dinner with the kingdom. and the man concluded that he would return to the palace before it was too late. Elena was reminded not to forget who she needs to ingratiate herself with. His love is so deep that during the last ball in honor of the founding of the empire, he dealt with all the mercenaries. But fortunately, Evans killed them before the head could pull out the information. It was funny for them to watch the Duke overstep all bounds of decency, and the informant asked to deal with him. Elena said that the man could rely on her. Evans thought that it was a beautiful day, and it was a pity that the weather was not suitable. Kian had heard that they had invited guests from the kingdom of Sendor. The men discussed seeing a man and a woman from there. Evans said that it seemed to him that Elena had the same perfume as Lady Ariel. The fifth prince said that in the past he hated Cedric for being perfect in everything, but now, on the contrary, he is grateful to him. At the imperial dinner, the Duke and the main character met again when Lena said that it was fate that had collided with them again. Cedric said that the girl's perfume filled him with her friend, which is why he remembered her. It was surprising, but the heroine does not use perfume. But nevertheless, the Duke felt a familiar aroma. The girl said that he and Ariel Winston met at the Spring Festival. Herzog said that he was its investor and was amazed at the stage of the business plan. He suggested that with her exceptional talent, the store would be a success, but the results exceeded all expectations. Elena began to worry that she and Ariel got back together. After all, in this case, if she follows the plan, on the contrary, she will cause him dislike. The girl hurried to greet the prince and princess of the ball. Kian immediately realized that the girl could use a similar perfume as Ariel. The lady said that she really wanted to meet the two of them, and also mentioned that the prince once ran his own business. She also said that she was looking forward to seeing Ariel's perfumes spread in her kingdom. The man showed the perfume that the lady had created especially for him. Kian offered the girl to try, to which she announced that it was a great honor for her. Helena began to realize that Winston was so famous that she was able to influence even the imperial family, and you should not recklessly cross her path. To revive the Kang Guild, Ariel's genius abilities are needed. However, if such a public figure, known even to the imperial family, disappears, there will be a serious wave. Elena decided that a new plan needed to be drawn up. Suddenly, Duke Evans appeared from behind, asking what she was doing there. But the man suddenly wondered if the lady had seen one mark 16 years ago. He began to talk about his guesses that the girl was an eyewitness to mysterious magic or experiments. The girl understood that he suspected her of spying for Kang, but she did not understand why. She tried to close her eyes, saying that she was very unpleasant to hear it, and by the way, she had never heard of it and had never seen it. Then, the man apologized, saying that he was just investigating. He also asked me to let her know if she saw or found out anything. Evans still remembered the smell of the place where he had been locked up 16 years earlier. Cedric knew for sure that the girl was saturated with the smell of this place. The Duke looked through all Lady Helena's papers, but everything was clean. The advisor also reported that this girl has a real personality. The only feature is the disappearance of her younger brother in childhood. Rick had heard that at the age of 8 she disappeared along with her bromine, but returned alone a few weeks later. It was also known that for the sake of experiments on people, Kang kidnapped small children. Assuming that Winbel's younger brother is a prototype of Kang, then Lena, who escaped alone after being kidnapped, could well have become Kang's subordinate to save her younger brother. Of all this, Cedric could not understand one thing: why she risked her life by entering the palace. She may be the main accomplice, so the Duke asked for a detailed investigation. If this investigation leads to important leads, Cedric may be able to understand why the Khans are fixated on Lady Winston. He will be able to find a way to cope with madness. Rena reported that Ariel had received an invitation from the Imperial Palace from Princess Lena. It was wonderful because the princess invites the perfumer to a ball in honor of her birthday. Ariel thought intensely about what she could give her. It should not be so luxurious, but not banal. The maid gave the idea, saying that the princess loves to travel. The island of Euphoria, Tanzari, and so on, there are no places she has not been. She especially likes the snow-covered lands of the north. She often visits there. It is said that the princess is a frequent visitor to the snowy lands because she wants to test the veracity of the legend. Winston decided that it was worth visiting there next week to create a perfume for the princess. A week later, the three of them headed to that snowy place. For the first time in a long time, the girl admired the snow. Rena asked if Ariel had been here before because there was no winter in the circles where they lived. But suddenly the girl saw the Duke there, very surprised. The man was here to investigate. But I, a girl, received an invitation to the ball from the princess, so I decided to present her with a perfume, with an association of a place that she especially likes. The Duke said that she liked to be here because of the legend of the fairy, but it was only a natural phenomenon. The man said that in the late afternoon it would get colder here and Ariel had better return before it was too late. Ariel carefully developed the recipe for the new perfume, based on her experience and genius talent in chemistry. Ern and Rena returned with bags of groceries. Ern asked the girls to rest because he would take care of dinner. The night really cooked very deliciously, from which the ladies were just shocked. Although the girls did not come here for the sake of rest, it turned out to be just the same, thanks to the beautiful view. Ariel shared that after relocating, she had just done what she was working. At first, she was shocked by the fact that she possessed Ariel's body. But for her, it was happiness that she could do perfume again thanks to this Ariel. After all, what she had so desperately dreamed of in her previous life had happened here. The girl understood that in the end we can say that everything turned out in the best way. Winston wondered who Evans would call on. Rena said that they would clean up and go to the house, and the perfumer would sit a little longer and come back. Ariel was really sleepy, but she knew that if she fell asleep outside, Rena would definitely grumble. The girl still fell asleep, and she had a nightmare, how the original Ariel poisoned the main character. When Ariel woke up, the Duke was already sitting next to her, worried. He said that it was dangerous to sleep in such a place, and it was better for her to enter the house. The girl said that she had a dream where Evans leaves her, to which the man said that he would never leave. Ariel noticed that Cedric was in a bad mood. The man said that he would like this not to happen in his dreams. Cedric handed the girl his jacket, saying that it was getting cold outside. Ariel realized that she had woken up as soon as she felt the warmth. She wondered if the Duke had been sitting next to her all the time while she slept. To this, the Duke said that he simply could not let the lady catch a cold. Evans, seeing that the girl was sleeping alone, thought it was dangerous and just sat down next to her. He was afraid that Ariel would freeze, so he hugged her a little. To this, Winston stated that she was still a little cold. The Duke did not come up with anything better than to hug the perfumer tightly, warming him with his warmth. The girl was well aware that she should not be carried away by this man. Her mind was stupefied by feelings and she couldn't push her ex away when he pulled her into a kiss. The lady apologized for not resisting in any way. The northern lights appeared in the sky and the man said that it looked like Aurora had decided to show herself. The perfumer smelled a lovely fragrance, which, according to Cedric, came from a single flower. The flowers began to shine and seemed to glow, and the girl said that it was incredible. It was an amazing feeling, as if lily, jasmine, and iris were mixed together. The Duke said that they bloom only at dawn when the northern lights appear. As it turned out, it was a phenomenon that was called the Aurora Fairy. The moments when she became the Queen of May and when she opened her new store came to mind. The flower awakened happy moments as soon as you breathe in its aroma. The princess said that she wanted to relive the memories from her childhood. Now, Ariel has decided what to present as a gift. The man wondered if the Duke liked Helena, but she reported that not only could she not get closer, on the contrary, she aroused unnecessary suspicions. The girl said that she had been trying to start a conversation for a long time, but he ignored her, turning away. She apologized for not being able to properly execute the plan. But he only got angry and, taking the girl by the chin, said that he thought that the Duke would bite on the cute face. He concluded that in this case, Elena is simply useless. But she said that the Duke would be attending the princess's birthday party, and then she would try. But the man abandoned this plan, saying that in the morning, Phil would give her instructions. The day of the ball in honor of the princess's birthday came. Ariel was informed that His Grace the Duke had already arrived. The man paid a compliment, saying that today the girl is especially luxurious. Although it is a trifle, it is better to accept him as gratitude that he has already accompanied her several times. Cedric asked if the girl chose the gift herself, but after answering he smiled, saying that the color was very beautiful. Winston was embarrassed when the Duke took her hand, especially after that incident with the kiss. The lady began to think that yesterday was just a mistake. At the ball, they were greeted by the princess herself, who noticed that they had once again arrived together. The girl asked to accept her congratulations, saying that her birth was a great happiness for the empire. Her Highness was glad that they came, so she wished them a good time. The Duke decided to stand out and give the princess gold bars. The girl promised that she would use it wisely. Ariel decided that it was necessary to show what a real birthday gift is. Everyone understood why the lady did not show up for several days, because she was making a new perfume. The fifth prince saw Elena again in the palace. The man decided that he needed to follow her just in case. Ariel could not take her eyes off the guy, although she wanted her to come to her senses. Suddenly, a healer walked into the room, who immediately apologized for not being on time. The Duke asked to examine not her, but the lady's ankle. The doctor realized that there were no violations, as Ariel tried to prove earlier. The perfumer immediately realized that she had just wanted to kiss a man. Evans said that it was very good that the injury was trivial. After that, he offered to give the lady another dance. The girl thought that such an appearance was simply illegal. But suddenly, Ariel remembered that Cedric had said that he had a conversation with her. The man said that he feels peace when a perfumer is around, and at first he believed that this was just the effect of weakening madness. But now he was convinced for sure that he liked Ariel Winston. But before he had time to say this, the lady hurried out of the hall. The girl did not understand why she did not realize this before, because absolutely all moments literally screamed about it. Cedric hugged her, asking her not to run away, but she said that she wanted to be herself, and next to a man, it was impossible. Ariel wanted to tell the whole reason, but her mouth abruptly closed with a kiss. Cedric said that she didn't have to worry because for him, Ariel was the main character. The girl began to think if she could change the course of the original story. The main question was whether the Duke would love her and not the fictional character in the plot. The perfumer decided that she would not know about it if she did not take the first step herself. Everything will be fine because history has already begun to change. And now, the girl is not a secondary character of Ariel Winston, but exactly the girl from the real world. But suddenly, the lady disappeared, and the whole hall was flooded with strange smoke. Cedric knew at once that attacking like this was Kang's tricks. Rick shouted that he had to leave urgently because something strange was happening. The Duke ran out into the street, and when he saw the prince, he ran up and asked what had happened. He reported that someone throughout the palace had hidden paralyzing incense. When a certain hour struck, it was the device that spread them. The guards tried to take control of the situation with the help of a neutralizer, and the suspect turned out to be just Elena, who walked around the palace so nicely. Also, given that she appeared at an official event between the kingdoms, it is worth assuming that the crime was planned. The girl began to ask who had sent her, to which she replied that she did not know anything. Cedric said that he was conducting an investigation, and there is a possibility that Khan is holding the Windbell family hostage, and therefore she is acting under his command. Since she and her younger brother were kidnapped and Elena returned alone, his whereabouts are unknown. Recently, the Duke had even shown her Kang's mark, and from the look in her eyes, she knew it. The girl looked away and asked if she told everything she knew, if they would be able to save her brother. Evans said there is a possibility, but he can give an accurate guarantee. However, they must do everything in their power, because the girl will tell everything. The Kang want to use their influence with the powerful demon beasts they have created. To contain them, a special chemical is needed. The Duke announced that with their skills, complete control was impossible. They plan to use Ariel's abilities to completely subdue the demon beasts. 5 hours had passed when Winston disappeared. The girl was paralyzed and lying on a stone table. When the man saw that she had woken up, he approached. The lady recognized him at once, for at a recent ball he had offered to accompany her. He introduced himself as the second guild leader, Rode. The lady, looking at him, immediately realized that he was the leader of the gang. He said that he did not kidnap her at all, but just wanted to fulfill the lady's wish. Rode said that it was a long time ago and maybe the girl didn't even remember it. Red said that he would help the girl revive her memories. The Empress said that they had taken root in the system again, and it was possible to trace them. After the incident of paralyzing smoking and the disappearance of the lady, an emergency meeting was held in the Imperial Palace. The Duke announced that at that moment he would lead an army to raze Khan to the ground. The Imperial Guard joined forces with the Cheval Order of Evans, and they made their way to the base. Inside, it was full of demon beasts. There was no end to them, and the fifth prince himself set to work. In the depths, there was a huge garden in which onyxia was grown. In an instant, the huge crystal that supplied the flowers with energy began to make strange sounds and sparkle. They failed again, and yet this time the probability of successful creation of a person was high. To their credit, the second chapter had chosen the ducal family, and they were confident that they would succeed. Ariel began to remember how she was little and how she and Evans sat in the same cage. The girl offered to help the boy with treatment because he was badly injured. After all, she had a wonderful cure for all diseases created by her mother. And indeed, the girl successfully cured little Cedric. Her mother was the most brilliant alchemist in the Empire, and she could create anything. But unfortunately, Ariel hasn't seen her mom since she got here. When trouble suddenly happened to the carriage, she opened her eyes and found herself there. He, too, had been dragged here after the carriage had been attacked. Evans said that now they are both in the hands of the kidnappers. The girl suggested that we get out of here as soon as possible together. They conducted experiments on the boy, recording observations that the highest indicator of compatibility of magical power was recorded. Test specimen number 6 died from ataxia of magical power. A red-haired boy asked his father to try the test. After all the torment, the girl continued to soothe someone else's pain with the help of her mother's elixirs. The children concluded that Kong are real psychos since they have been bullying children for a week. The girl said that in any case, it would be good to run away from here with her mother. To this, the redhead said that this was laughter and nothing more, and then introduced himself that he was the future second chapter. The boy said that he knew where her mother was and asked to follow him. Those memories pierced Cedric with a thin thread of pain. It would seem that the crystal was about to explode from the magical power. Cedric tried to protect the girl who was helping him and took a piece of the crystal and stood in front of the red. The Duke told the prince that he remembered everything and knew who had kidnapped Ariel. The girl suddenly remembered everything, even the moment when she found her dead mother. From that day on, she was forced to create perfumes every day for her own experiments. The angry boy only continued to escalate, saying that she would never be allowed out of here. Also, he said with a smirk that it belongs to him. Ariel remembered they wanted to use her instead of her mother. They also tried to get rid of Cedric in order to tie her to him. But in the end, an accident occurred, because of which one important experiment had to be suspended, and Rode was the one who led Kang to destruction. The man was interested in what future awaited them if they united. The second chapter was insane and invited Ariel to stay with him and change this world radically. The perfumer said with disgust that no matter what he thought of for himself, it would never happen. To this, the redhead replied that he could only force her to do so. He planned to brainwash the lady with the help of another experiment. Ariel has achieved what she has now with such difficulty, she just can't afford to be turned into cannon fodder. At this long-awaited moment, Evans finally got to the right place. Rode was surprised that the man was able to get close to her in such a pathetic state. The Duke took out his sword and told Ariel to be patient a little and he would save her. A couple of blows and Cedric destroyed the crystals, thanks to which the spell was dispelled. Goad, saying that the Duke simply should not have interfered, threw away the explosive canister from which a strange smoke emitted. This smoke was from the demon world, which was more insanity. The head said that no matter how hard he tried, Cedric was still a pathetic animal. The knights burst into the room, asking if his lordship was all right. The Duke could not overcome himself and rushed into battle, attacking his own knights. But the fifth prince intervened in Ern's defense, using his divine power. The nephew asked Evans to come to his senses, because now it was not he who needed it, but Lady Winston. Voices were screaming in his head that were trying to turn him against him. They were saying to kill, and it didn't matter whom. He rushed into battle again, but after defeating the prince's divine power, he settled on the knights. Ariel stood in Erna's place, covering him with her body so that the guy would not hurt her friend in any case. The girl tried to bring Cedric to his senses. Suddenly, after much shouting, Evans finally recognized Ariel. Ariel knew that he wasn't completely mad yet, and just in case, she had a sedative pill in her pocket. The man silently pressed the girl to him, symbolizing a hug. The monks began to heal Kian. The knight promised that he would return with good news, and Ariel would have to deal alone. The symptoms have intensified. It will be difficult to endure them alone. The girl would not like to use this method, but there is no other choice. Ariel put a pill in her mouth and pulled the man into a deep kiss. Everything worked out because this is a powerful sedative and soon Evans will get better. At last the Duke came to himself and spoke. The man hugged the girl tightly, saying that he would not want to experience this again. All the participants of the con were tied up with powerful chains. Redhead stated that Cedric was still a monster, even if he was his father's successful creation. Evans has the blood of demonic creatures in his veins, and nothing can change it. To this, the man said that he did not regret his mixed blood at all. Although there are some side effects, it has gained obvious power. It was nice, because Cedric could gut anyone like a rat. Ariel wondered how to completely get rid of the side effects of experiments on humans. Rhodes said that the girl was too naive because there was no one on Earth who could cleanse a blackened soul. A body that has been intertwined with demonic blood even once will not be able to return to its previous state. Winston's face was annoyed that she could not get the answer she wanted. Evans proudly declared that he didn't care anymore because he had already found his home. Redhead tried to say again that she was going to live a normal life, making perfumes like a merchant. Although now, she can get things that she could not even think of. The perfumer asked why he thought she would want to participate in 8th graders' games to conquer the world. After all, he will have to rot in prison for the crimes committed. He began to shout that he had done a lot to meet Ariel, to which the girl handed him a perfume in his nose that could kill him with one click. The couple was offered to be delivered home using a teleporter. There was only one rule in its use, one person at a time. Finally, the missing children returned home. Under the leadership of His Highness the Duke of Evans, they successfully dealt with the demonic creatures. However, at the last moment, the head of the guild, Kang, used suspicious magic on the Duke. This caused him incredible torment, and they did not even find the courage to approach. Lady Ariel Winston was the one who saved the Duke. The Imperial Palace plans to reach out to the lady to prepare for emergencies. Along with eliminating Kang and settling the consequences, the head of the Kang Guild, Rod Rizaro, who became the main instigator of all the incidents, was punished. His punishment was the status of a slave for life. As long as he is branded, he will be watched wherever he goes. And if he tries to leave the country, the body part with the brand will explode. Ariel's employees, after reading this story in the newspaper, reported that she had an interesting life. The girl was recognized as a heroine of love who heroically managed to save the Duke from madness. Winston grew a huge popularity of admiring people who asked about that situation. Some even thought that the girl covered Cedric with herself, because the article gave rise to many stupid rumors. But the girl was reassured by the fact that thanks to this, their sales increased. Ariel was examined by the court doctor, rested a little, and came out with renewed vigor. And Rena looked after the store well when the hostess was not there. Now, all employees do a great job without the appearance of the head perfumer. They did a great job of advising products, reminding customers that their products will last on the skin for a long time. Looking at it, Winston concluded that there could be no problems in the future. A guest on the second floor, or rather Vin, was waiting for the mistress. The girl and her brother apologized for showing up so unexpectedly, but they wanted to thank Ariel personally. But Elena also wanted to admit that she had been deceiving the girl all this time, and that she was in danger was entirely her fault. To this, the perfumer said that the main thing was that everything ended well, and besides, she understands, because the girl had a serious reason. The palace said that since she had provided information to eliminate the Kang Guild and was also a victim of human experimentation, they had released her from punishment. But you can't undo what you've done, so if Ariel needs her, she'll come as fast as she can to help. When asked what Lena plans to do next, the girl replied that she wants to become a student of the Magic Tower. It was a great idea because in the original, Lena also dreamed of becoming a mage wandering around the continent, to save people like her who are in distress with the help of magic. But Elena's brother dreamed of becoming an outstanding knight like Duke Evans. The girl wondered what that perfume was for, because she guessed that it was due to the side effects of the experiments. However, it was ordered by Rod to make the experiments more effective, because if a person forgets about pain, he can be mocked as much as he wants. Ariel decided to give the guys a Nixia perfume. She said that during the experiments, Lena was also injected with the blood of demonic creatures. Perhaps everything is not as serious as Cedric's, but sometimes she can be tormented by side effects. And such moments will help her with this aroma of Onyxia. As soon as they finished and Elena hurried home, the girl went outside when she saw Evans. The man suggested that the lady dedicate tonight to him. The perfumer was surprised at how far away this place was that she had to use a teleporter. The Duke said that he plans to visit Azendrick, and he asked the girl to accompany him. Ariel asked the reason why they should visit this place. Evans offered to visit first, and then find out everything. On the spot, they were met by a nice old lady who noticed how long they had to travel. This woman was the High Priestess. She asked if the lady the man had told her about was standing right in front of her. The woman came a little closer to her, and the girl did not understand why such an important person as the High Priest was studying her at arm's length. The old lady asked Cedric to leave them for a while, for she had a personal conversation to have with the lady. As soon as the Duke left, the priestess revealed that she knew that Ariel had come from another world. She said that she was not going to interrogate the lady. The perfumer began to wonder how much this lady knew, and whether she knew that she came from planet Earth. The priestess said that she understood that she was bothering the girl, because she had only happened to observe such a thing before. This is not a frequent occurrence. In her long life, a woman has observed this only twice. The girl asked if there were any other people who had come from her world. Everyone managed to get used to it perfectly, although Ariel got used to it much faster than these two. It was immediately clear from Winston that she was from another world because she did not have God's mark. In addition, her soul radiates a different energy. Ariel abruptly realized that the Duke had also understood the fact that she was from another world and had therefore brought her here. The old woman said that the Duke's fears were excessive. When Evans came again, the priestess revealed that Ariel was completely healthy. The girl asked if the Duke thought that she had also been experimented on. Most of all, Rod was obsessed with Ariel, and she's been there with Cedric in the past. The lady said that she conducted chemical experiments instead of her mother. The lady was right, for Evans did not feel the demonic energy. The Duke said that when he went down into the underground sewers, he remembered everything that had happened in the past, and that Ariel was the only reason he could hold on. The man asked if they were not because of one test, then what other reasons could there be? The perfumer guessed what the reason was, but did not know how to explain. Similar symptoms, all known methods of treating carp with ingredients from the demonic world. Up to this point, Cedric's symptoms were described in the original as an incurable disease. But there is another way, but the girl does not know whether to mention it. But the girl thought that if the author himself wrote about this novel, then it is unlikely to be complete nonsense. She, hesitating, said that the second reason why the symptoms weakened was love. Cedric's madness is caused by the fact that the blood of a demonic creature cannot be completely mixed with his own. For treatment, it was necessary to eradicate the nature of demonic creatures whose blood was mixed with human blood. One of the ways to treat it is to sweep it away with human nature. In other words, feelings that only a person is capable of. The girl said that this was just a probability. It seems to her that the author has reread the fairy tales, and it also sounds like the reason is that Ariel likes her too much. The man said that it does not mean that there is such an opinion. It seems strange to him, but if she were of the same origin as him, the symptoms would have receded even at their first meeting. At first, he thought there was a mnemonic effect, but at some point things began to happen that could no longer be explained. The Duke planned to confess in a more appropriate place at a more appropriate time, but he can no longer restrain himself because he is in love with Ariel Winston. The man didn't know if he had the right to say such a thing, but he was head over heels in love with her. The girl, in turn, reciprocated and also confessed her feelings. For a second, a strange thought came to her. If the lady had really moved into a fairy tale, then now the word would have surfaced under this scene, the end. A month later, Ariel woke up in her bed. Cedric lay beside him, asking if the lady had slept well. The perfumer began to stay at Cedric's estate more often, under the pretext that she was the attending physician. Within a month, he and Evans became even closer. Also, the girl began to expand the perfume business. Also, she opened a second perfume salon in the Magellan district. Charlotte congratulated the lady on the discovery and on the fact that she was able to overcome her business. Ariel offered to stay up late, not letting them sell perfume. Elena also wanted to meet with the mistress. Winston didn't know there was a restaurant in the department store. It was incredibly beautiful there because Cedric chose the place. The place looked not only beautiful but also expensive. Ariel knew that the more she looked at him, the more shy he became. For a lady, it was truly a perfect dinner. Evans suddenly declared again that Ariel had become occupied with all his thoughts and he seemed to be in love with her. He knew that there was no way to stop these feelings. The Duke said that every day spent with the girl brought him great pleasure, so he got down on one knee and proposed to the lady. Ariel, without hesitation, said these cherished words that she agreed. Now, they will fall asleep and wake up together every day. That night, they spent quite normally, discussing where Ariel wanted to open a third store. She wondered if she liked her perfume abroad. Their conversations did not cease until dawn. The man snuggled up without warning, as if he always did so. And she, as if by wave, closed her eyes. And her lungs were filled with fragrance, and at some point she was suddenly visited by confidence. Even if Ariel inhales this aroma for the rest of her life, she will never get tired of it. The wedding day came. Looking in the mirror, the perfumer said that the efforts were not in vain. Even with the crowds of shoppers, she had to sleep for at least 10 hours. And the biggest problem, on this day, she couldn't meet Cedric. And all because of the tradition that forbids the bride and groom to see each other during the week before the wedding. Rena said that it was worth waiting a little longer. To think that soon Ariel Evans would be a lady. Finally, the bride arrived at the ballroom of the Beller Imperial Palace. The priest asked the bride and groom to look at each other and say the oath. The groom swore that he would always love one and only the bride. The bride swore that she would always love only one groom. The priestess wanted to tell them to put rings on each other, as they had already begun to kiss. Ariel stopped Evans, asking him to put a ring on her. They say that rings are shackles that hold marriage. Finally, the old lady declared Winston and Evans husband and wife. Jane herself personally came to the wedding to congratulate the perfumer on the wedding. The woman said that recently, a gang of robbers has been operating at the Western Gate, and there may be problems with the visit. The Duke said that in any case he planned to send a nightly detachment there and they would soon be defeated. Charlotte grinned, constantly calling Ariel by Cedric's last name. The girls still couldn't believe that it had happened, to which the blonde replied that it was because they hadn't had their wedding night yet. Ariel wouldn't mind just lying around with Evans and chatting. The next evening, they went to the island of Love Euphoria. The girl was happy with the pink sand and after Evans became her husband. They will not be able to walk for a long time, because soon it will be evening and it will become cold. The Duke then offered to return to the villa. The lady had the feeling that she was doing nothing but eating all day long. To this, Cedric only offered to add a little more wine. Ariel was about to ask what kind of wine it was when she knocked over her glass. The man said that the girl was starting to worry about completely unexpected reasons. He smiled and, wiping the wine from someone else's hands, offered to go upstairs. The perfumer realized that it was already night and they would have to spend their wedding night. Despite the fact that the Duke offered to go to bed, Evans was very worried. The lady smiled and, saying that she was perfectly fine, went to the second floor. Seeing the girl's shy behavior, Cedric laughed, even if this was not the most appropriate moment for laughter. Ariel threw him on the bed, deep into a pleasant kiss. The girl realized that Cedric was also worried when he preferred to be on top. The next day, the couple decided to go to the beach. Evans wondered if Cedric knew what a snide face he had now. In the evening, there was to be a festival in the village. The couple was very calm because no one recognized them. Then the Duke offered the lady to open her own business here. But suddenly, overhearing a casual conversation, she found out that there was a fortune teller somewhere here. Ariel decided to look into the tent for fun, but suddenly the lady saw a familiar fortune teller, the one who predicted a lot of truth. She had not thought to meet her here, and she wondered if Ariel must be here on her honeymoon. The fortune teller said that it was a great honor for her to see such a bright couple live. She asked to choose 3 cards that can predict the fate of the spouses. From the cards, the girl clearly saw that these two were made for each other. These cards indicate that their future will be flooded with bright light. Troubles, although they will visit them, will quickly dissipate. And also, they will be visited by 2 baby angels. The fortune teller said that Ariel would have twins. The girl was completely shocked by the words of the fortune teller because she did not even suspect that she could be pregnant. But Cedric immediately began to think that he would need to find a capable midwife and magician. The man said that if the fortune teller did not lie, but this is not so bad. She asked if the girl should take a closer look. In the past, Ariel drew the grandfather card in relation to the partner destined for her. And out of interest, she asked how his health was. Ariel again chose 3 cards and found out that nothing threatens the health of this gentleman. This does not mean that there are no problems, but she will find a solution and cope safely. The man said that the twins will make his widow happy, but he thinks that it is very difficult for the girl. But the girl said that half of what was said was just fun. Finally, the couple arrived home, and the first thing Rena did was throw herself into the arms of the lady. The staff, due to the fact that she returned earlier, they decided to organize a congratulatory party in a hurry. Rena wondered why the lady returned earlier than planned, to which Ariel said that from today, she will develop a new fragrance. The guys announced that they would help with everything the lady said, but Evans wanted to create the scent of the sea breeze of euphoria, with the smell of palm trees and overseas fruits, and the smell of musk mixed with coniferous wood. As she continued to create her new fragrance, she noticed that Cedric had been waiting for her for a long time. He said that the girl was so focused that he decided to watch silently, to which Ariel only gave him a sniff of the new scent. The lady decided to call this perfume Happiness. But in fact, this is a series of fragrances, but the first will be this one, the aroma of the same sea breeze. When asked how many of them she plans to create, the girl replied that she did not know and maybe it would stretch for eternity. Ariel wondered what the aroma that gives people happiness smells like. It was the scent of flowers, sworn bees, and butterflies. The girl spent a lot of time thinking about this question, but now she knows the answer for sure. The smell of happiness that she wanted to reveal so badly was actually the scent of a person. Not a single fragrant flower and expensive spices can defeat the smell of the skin of a loved one. Cedric for her and she for Cedric are the only ones who allowed each other to experience real happiness.